happened actually.
Dual silver
All right,
plates.
sweet. I think we're live. I'm going to assume we're live.
Someone
Awesome.
is crackling a little bit on my end. I hate to start the live stream off that way.
Is it me? Let me pause.
You all sound good to me.
I'm back on now.
All right, cool. We're live. I'm here with the great Stefan Milo.
Hello.
North 2. North
Hello.
O2, is it?
Yeah.
Sweet. First name North, second name O2,
Yep.
and David Ian Howe. And we're going to
Hey.
try and, you know, it's not ambitious at all. We're going to tell the entire history of human evolution. So, what is the first proto-human? Like, what do you
Wow.
guys consider to be the first proto-human?
Define
It is
human.
interesting, like, yeah, where do you start the point of human evolution? You know, really, I mean...
Yeah, you know, we
kind
got
of
2
have
hours.
to
Let's
go
do
back
it.
to the beginning of life, but...
Pretty much.
Yeah.
From what I gather, we evolved from a kind of like a little squirrel type thing. Then eventually it becomes kind of like a. It's not a chimpanzee, but it's kind of similar to a chimp, like a. This is, and then it gets to Australopithecus. Maybe we start with Australopithecus. I don't know. What do you think?
Egyptopithecus is the first like ape. Am I mistaken? Right?
I think it's an early one. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the first.
You know more than me, so that's awesome. Okay, cool.
But you're right, there was
Egyptopithecus.
like, we were
It's
like
all
a
the
squirrel
oracles.
66 million years ago, roughly. Like the earliest primates around at the dinosaur time.
I enjoy that. I enjoy we were kind of a squirrel type thing.
Yeah, we were basically a squirrel-ish creature at the time of the dinosaurs, and the earliest sort of candidate for fossil primates, maybe like proto-primates, are these little chaps called Purgatorius, which is kind of a gangster name. I think
I
they're
like
from
that.
some place called Purgatory or something.
Purgatory. Yeah.
I think that's literally why they're called that. I think they're from
Yeah.
Where
like,
were they?
Purgatory,
Where were they
Montana.
found? Montana.
Montana, yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
And do we know when those guys lived roughly? What are we talk? When are we talking? It's like
The oldest specimens have been like dated to just 100,000 years after the big meteor impact that killed the dinosaurs.
Wow.
So basically, they're contemporary with dinosaurs. And then there's some genetic evidence that suggests primates split from their relatives like 70 million years ago, 80 million years ago, just before the extinction of the dinosaurs. But that's like based on molecular clocks, and when you go that back far in time, there's a
Yeah.
huge margin of error. So is that
Yeah.
actually the case? I don't know.
Yeah,
And then,
certainly it
yeah,
was-
65 million years later, some of them stood up. Or like 60 million years later.
60 million years. Yeah, so I mean, I always think maybe it's about what is it 5 million years ago? Australopithecus roundabout. Would that be about right?
Third,
Or not
4
quite.
or 3 maybe.
That'd be
3,
early,
4
yeah. I
million
think
years
it's more in the
ago.
3 to 4 range, 2 to
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
people
that's
usually start
Lucy.
with like Sahelanthropus, just like bipedal. But that was even before that, I guess. Bipedal locomotion, I think.
Yeah.
Well, there's some
Ardipithecus,
like,
too. Yeah.
there's some debate
Yeah,
as
right.
to. So like, it seems our last common ancestor with chimpanzees maybe lived around 6 million years ago. I think something like that. Again,
Nice.
I think that's based on genetic estimates largely. So there's probably some range there, but you could say roughly like 6 to 8, I think, which is when, as North said there, Sahelanthropus was kind of kicking around. Do you have the Sahelanthropus skull?
I do not, but I mean the habilis skull kind of looks like it.
I didn't have
So
it.
that's-
I didn't.
So Homo habilis is we're not there yet. We've got to go in chronological. So we're in Australopithecus.
I'm gonna go on record saying too that I think Habilis does not get enough love, but I'm not able to speak on him too much. But anyway, I'll continue.
I don't know why, David, but I have you as like a Neanderthal guy. Like you're the guy that knows about Neanderthals. Maybe it's because of your skits.
I'm the height for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. That
But,
2% of Neanderthal DNA is doing a lot of work in David.
It's carrying a lot of weight. I do like Neanderthals though, but I think
Yeah.
Stefan and maybe Dane, or sorry, North did as well. Made a video on Homo erectus. I'm gonna try my best. And Homo erectus, I think, is like the the coolest one, more unsung than Homo habilis, I think. But
I like
know
Homo
Nobody really
erectus.
talks about habilis,
Yeah.
but I mean, they were the first to really start using tools or incorporating tools like everyday use, I believe, or just a lot more than before. With like
So
old
hold
lawn
on, right.
tools.
So we've got Australopithecus.
We're skipping way.
We're skipping,
Here
yeah.
we go.
Yeah, we got
I
it.
was looking for this picture. That's the early squirrel-like guy that evolved in the
All right.
trees. Yeah,
Awesome.
and
Nice.
that is Plesiadapiforms. We'll skip past that.
Plesiadapiforms, yeah,
Boom,
they were early
boom.
primates
So,
too.
so we're a squirrel, then we become Australopithecus. I'm just going to skip forward to like Lucy because I think people know Lucy.
Okay.
Is that fair, or should I not skip past?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
That's fair. That's Lucy. I mean,
That's Lucy. All right.
Lucy about I think we got to dwell a little bit before Lucy because she did in theory live about 3 million years.
Please do.
After-
Please do. Tell me what happened
after-
between the squirrel and Lucy.
Well,
A lot of
if you're
continental
talking
drift.
Yeah.
if
Should
we're
probably go to
talking
when monkeys split off and then apes split off.
I
That
don't
was-
know
what
enough
was
about
monkeys?
that. I don't know.
I
enough
think
about the
monkeys was
timings of
like
that.
30 million years ago, and then apes split off like 25 million years ago.
The
Think.
proconsul, right? I think.
I don't even know.
Or am I saying the wrong
I
one?
don't know. I
studied
don't know
this in
enough
a long
about the.
time.
No, it sounds good, man. It sounds
pre-human
right.
Evolution.
Okay.
Sounds right
I
to
took
me.
a primate and then human evolution class in grad school, but that was a decade ago, and I can't remember the words. And everything changes overnight too. I should probably preface all of this with tomorrow
Oh,
when
of
people
course.
come out being like, "Artie was not real."
Yeah, of
so-
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's complicated. It's complicated stuff. You know, I've got
It's
kind of like a
complicated.
simplified version of it in my mind, but yeah, I'm sure it's way more complex than this simplified version I've got.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at some point, right, there's a population of animals that both chimpanzees and humans descend from. And there
Yeah.
is a big debate as to how upright that population was. And did chimpanzees actually evolve knuckle walking after that population? Which, if they did, is kind of complicated because gorillas also knuckle walk, which means knuckle walking had to evolve twice. That's like a convergent evolution there. If the last common
Interesting.
ancestor of us and chimpanzees wasn't a knuckle walker, then knuckle walking had to evolve twice. But we don't really know much about that population, or any of the populations really, sort of up until Australopithecus, because we only have a few very fragmentary remains, like Sahelanthropus that lived like 8 or 9 million years ago, maybe. I don't know. Is that roughly right? Do you think?
Yeah, I think it was like 7 or I don't know.
7 maybe.
Exactly. But then there's like
And then, like-
Ardipithecus too.
Ardipithecus, yeah, and Auroran
weird.
tuganensis is another one. But these are all like highly fragmentary, with the possible exception of Sahelanthropus. So I don't know that we have that much to say for like 3 million
Yeah.
years of evolution until like the Australopiths rock up, like Lucy.
Yeah.
Isn't it just incredible
This is
thinking
Lucy.
about the amount that is lost that we don't have? So much. Almost
Oh, yeah.
everything. Almost everything.
I'm trying to find a picture.
Well,
of
like
this,
any
but-
point in time you pick as well, it's like it's so arbitrary. Like the line between species is so arbitrary. It only seems like drastic in a way because we have these big gaps.
Yeah.
So it looks like this big change,
Yeah.
but if you went back like 7 million years and you looked at all these different populations or something, and you were asked to pick, oh, which one is the ancestor of chimpanzees, which one is the ancestor of humans, I bet you couldn't pick them out. I bet if they were both in front of you, you'd be like, I don't know, they're just all apes.
Well, I definitely wouldn't be able to pick them out. I'm sure, like, you guys could give it a good go.
Nah. Not even Charles Darwin could pick them out, I think, Van.
Yeah.
Because they'd just be too similar. And they'd probably be interbreeding with each other for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Are you talking like older hominids?
I'm
Or
Yeah.
saying, like, in that 3 million year gap, it might be hard to
Oh, yeah.
identify who's the ancestor of who.
Right.
And our
until-
ancestors went and breeded with the ancestors of chimpanzees again after our like 2 million years after our split, I believe,
did.
right? They rebred with each other, just making everything even more complicated.
Probably, yeah.
So our ancestors were close enough to chimpanzees to be able to have offspring.
from what I had
at that
heard
point,
about,
at that later divergent point.
generally they said they split around 7 million years ago, but then I think there's evidence that we interbred with them again, like 2 million years after that. And even though we were distinct at that point, but we were still close enough to breed with each other. I'd have to look
Yeah,
up the
but-
exact research on that,
Is-
though.
I mean, I suppose we're like a bonobo to a chimpanzee by that point, or something. It's like we're kind of a similar type of ape.
Yeah,
I mean,
more-
back in that time, they'd have been so closely related. They'd have been
Yeah.
relatively closely related
Yeah.
populations.
that's like us compared to Homo erectus, maybe. I mean, there's no apples to apple comparison, I guess, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Close
like a
enough
good way
to
to think of it
Mate,
too.
though.
Sorry,
It's interesting. No, you go ahead, man.
is that good? Like foxes look like dogs or wolves, but they're separated by several million years of evolution, so they can't interbreed. So like a good way I always explain Neanderthals, Denisovans, and like how we would have seen the differences. Like you'd look at a fox and think, okay, that's a dog-like animal. Sure, it's a dog, but it can't interbreed because of all that distance in the evolution. So like at the time when all these hominids were going around, it was kind of like that. Whereas like coyotes and dogs and wolves can all interbreed. They're all hominids. There's like foxes and stuff that would have been like the outlier. Like there's, if that makes any sense. Other kinds of dogs and like wild canids can't interbreed with wolves either, but they look similar. So you would have just classified them all as like hominid or dog looking things. Anyway, it's probably
Let me-
confusing.
now, let me
Interesting.
ask- I just want to ask, how hard are people trying to get foxes and dogs to interbreed? Like, what's the process?
That's David's day job, right?
Darwin tried, couldn't get it to work.
Oh
Like when you
man.
put two magnets together on the negative ends, it just doesn't do anything. But I don't know if they've been trying, but I know like it always comes out there's a hybrid they found in the wild, but it's really just because we call it a fox, but it's actually like a wolf. But
Has anyone taken like the sperm of a wolf and put it in a fox egg in like a lab?
I'd imagine that goes on in Russia. I don't know if it happens here or not, but
Interesting.
You can
Yeah.
breed a lion and a tiger, right? And it creates a liger. Or is that just an
Yeah.
old wives' tale?
That's
no,
I think that's
you
real.
Can create,
Yeah.
and then there's what is the other one? Because the liger's like a female lion and a male tiger, and then the other one a male. They're like totally different if you depending on
oh,
the
Tygon. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tygon.
Tygon.
a tie.
Oh, I
They
love
should have
that.
called it a tie-on.
Scion. I think they probably thought that. It doesn't sound cool enough.
But people, that's like the biological species concept, you know, where it's like I get these comments all the time, like, nope, Neanderthals are the same species as us. We could breed with them, so we have to be the same species. But it's like
Yeah.
tigers and lions can reproduce, and sometimes they can even be fertile. I believe the hybrid offspring, and it's like clearly these are different species. They're like completely, you know,
Yeah.
adapted to different things.
I kind of
yeah,
agree with
absolutely.
the other people. I kind of agree with the people writing to you, man.
Well, I mean,
you know,
obviously, there's my point more so is that there's not, you know, a black and white. There's no such thing as a black and white species concept, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like there can be infertility too, to where it's even though they can create a hybrid, it's like maybe you have to do it almost in a lab, you know. So it's like that could never even happen in nature. So, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So when do we stand upright, guys?
Well,
just have no
maybe
answers.
That's hard, man. That's when do we stand upright? I mean, for sure by the Australopiths.
By the
upright.
Australopithecus. I mean,
I
they're
think
stood
it's a
up.
gradual process, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're still
Yeah.
spending a
Probably
lot of time in trees.
5 to 7 million
Right.
years ago, somewhere between there, right?
Yeah, yeah. But
Well,
then
maybe.
that depends on, like I said, on how upright was our last common ancestor with chimpanzees, and did their knuckle walking evolve after that? I think that's still
Yeah.
like, well, obviously all these things are super up for debate, but yeah, I think North is right, like 5 to 7, probably. Good guess, but it's a gradual thing. I think
The one
that,
Australopithecus
like,
still spent
committed
like a lot
to
of time
like
in the
oh,
trees.
sorry.
So we're still living in the trees a little bit. We're in the trees, going onto land, and we're eating everything, right? Like anything that moves, we eat it. Would that be fair to say or not?
I think it's a lot of carrion at first.
Lots of
Um,
okay. We're scavengers.
Well, and
Nice.
this gets into the debate of what is the purpose of bipedalism, and like there's the Savannah hypothesis, or like I think Lucy was like kind of like an orangutan, like bipedally in the tree, or maybe it's not.
Oh, I
Lucy.
love it. love it.
But could walk on the ground for longer, but it's like Erectus fully commits,
Yeah, yeah.
at least with the tool use. But I think long before that, there's still like a chimp could walk. I don't know. I might Stefan and North. Am I off there?
I think I mean, Australopithecines and species before them could fully, bipedally walk like perfectly, basically. But they could
Yeah.
also climb in trees, whereas we eventually lost the ability to really climb in trees. But even like, I think even Homo habilis still has some like features to help it climb in trees. And then later species like, Homo naledi and even like Floresiensis, I think, show that they were adapting to go back and hang out in the trees, even though they were completely also bipedal. So I don't think it's mutually exclusive at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100%
So
true.
there's a bit of back and
Yeah.
forth. There's a bit of back and forth. What is there anything? Is there any weight to the aquatic ape hypothesis, or is that like? Do you not agree with that? I think it's the idea that we basically.
I really
like,
don't
we'd s-
think there is.
No.
Because almost everything that hypothesis explains can be explained like simpler through more mundane reasons, like the
Yeah.
body fat and the skin, and it just gets a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
But
There are other things that would be like, I mean, yeah. Like if we were super aquatic adapted, our noses would have moved to the top of our heads, like all
Yeah.
aquatic mammals do. So that our noses are like low down for an aquatic
Yeah.
animal. We'd be like
Yeah.
drowning. Yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to like keep our eyes above water and breathe,
Right.
Yeah.
which is a problem. But
I did
what
always
about-
find the fat versus like the nose hair thing compelling about that argument, but I think, like North said, there's other factors that lead to that, and it might be sexual selection that makes us hairless more so than just natural selection. Because then, like, why do men have beards, women don't?
yeah, I'm more interested in why we've got the hair that we've got. Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah,
we
it's-
go
it's
full
weird, isn't it?
bald?
I think
Look at this
there's
big
Patches of it.
variety of facial hair we've got today. What are we trying to
Yeah,
signal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Being
Uh.
we've got like clean shaven North up to full beard David and me in
Yeah.
the
We're
middle.
actually like this. That is the evolution, isn't it? Oh my god.
Yeah, well, he's more manly than me for sure. So it doesn't mean that.
I've got more questions. So I also understand that something to do with eating a lot of meat may have made our brains grow faster. I mean, is there anything in that? Like cooked
I think
meat,
so.
I think it is. Yeah, yeah. And is that
think so.
happening? Is Australopithecus? It's not cooking its meat, right?
No.
No.
not at all. I don't think.
So this is like
Fires
Homo
Homo
erectus.
erectus. Yeah.
Homo erectus starts cooking.
I don't know. I think there's something to say. I think there's definitely an ability to access higher calories. One of that is like eating more meat, a lot more meat. And one of that is perhaps being able to dig for food a lot better with like sticks and stuff. Maybe Australopithecus was doing stuff like that, but the wood certainly doesn't survive from 3 million years ago. But
So
we do-
Australopithecus may have been using tools, possibly.
I think Australopithecus was using tools. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you guys
I
agree?
think
Is
those
that-
very simple ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we should
agree,
probably
yeah.
jump to the first stone tools then.
I mean, is
'cause
that
that's
Yeah.
when's that then?
3.3 million years ago?
Well,
Awesome. That's
or
roughly
even
where I want to be.
like-
That's good.
But
Yeah, that's good.
Lamechrian tools are even older than that.
Oh, are they? Shoot. I need to change the video.
No, I think that
Oh
up.
no,
isn't
no,
that-
you're right. That is 3.3. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
3.3. So yeah, right about the time that Lucy lived.
And we don't even know who were making those. I mean, our genus Homo wasn't even around 3.3 million years ago. So
Yeah. But likely some form of hominin, likely some form of Australopithecus.
probably something
making them.
ancestral to us.
Yeah.
Just guessing,
Yeah.
but we don't know for sure.
No.
And then you got to get into, not to like pull a Jordan Peterson, but like define tool. And like you got to, like a capuchin can smash a rock on a nut and get the nut out.
Puchin.
Yeah. But like what Goodall found was they can make termite sticks, and like that's still a tool, but that doesn't fossilize.
Yeah, I was
So
going
it's
to say,
only-
like,
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
certain birds that can use tools, kind of, like, to make their nests, like crows and things.
Yeah.
But it's
All
not quite a
apes-
tool. But
Yeah. All apes kind of use tools more or less to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Like there was never a point when I think it's like modified tools.
Yeah, modified.
Is what
Yeah.
separates us. We're really like modifying them.
I
to
believe
make them do a
they
better
even
job.
gave a bunch of chimpanzees like flint and like flaked stone tool, like you know, things that you could make a flake stone tool with. I don't know if you guys know anything more about that. I think it was a study or something, and the
Yeah,
chimpanzees
oh,
just
you go.
didn't do anything with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they like showed them how to do it, and then they were like, okay, and just kept doing what they were doing. Yeah.
So
it is
so
pretty novel
chimpanzees
behavior.
so chimpanzees use tools that they just find, whereas hominids would create tools to use.
They might modify a branch. I've seen them
Yeah.
modify branches to like be better at digging squirrels out of holes and stuff like that.
And even
Yeah.
to spear
Ants
those
too.
things, I think those little bush baby things. I think they might spear them with sticks.
They kind of do, yeah. They kind of like fish them out with sticks. They'll be in their burrow, and the chimpanzee will be like jamming a stick in there.
Yeah. Pretty
It's
neat, and
kind
then
of brutal. It's
They'll
crazy.
use leaves to drink water sometimes too.
Do they?
Yeah, at least orangutans do. I don't know if chimps do or bonobos, but the I just had a thought and I lost it. Oh, nest building. All apes make nests. Nests are still a tool, but birds make them too. So then we have to define birds as tool use. So it's confusing. But the first like time you're cracking a stone tool open with the idea of okay, inside this is a sharp object that shows like chess-like thinking, would be I guess Lamecwi tools, but like definitely Oldowan.
Seems to be, yeah, definitely by
yeah.
our older one tools, yeah.
And Oldowan, that's what is that? 2.4 million years, or is that older than that?
Ashulian's
that would
like
be-
a million, so yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be the first like real widespread tradition that probably gave you
Or
know
something like
Homo
that,
habilis
like
access.
just a rock with just like 3 or 4 flakes removed. Something like that. Oh, North's got one too.
Oh, you get what? I'm left
Get your
out.
tools out. It's a tool off. Everybody whip their tools out.
Stefan, you just mentioned that was a Homo habilis tool. Is that right?
This one.
Homo habilis was probably making older one tools. Older one
Did you
style
you
tools,
say that
yeah.
that was a Homo habilis? Is that when do they come in?
Homo habilis
keep
is at
asking you
least
guys dates, I'm sorry.
2.4 million years ago, I believe.
Yeah, 2.4, yeah.
But
So
I mean, probably earlier, but that's our earliest remains.
do we think that they evolved from Australopithecus? Is that right, or are they kind of like cousins?
In some way, they must have done. In some
Yeah.
way, we've evolved from our Australopithecus-like population. Have we found the population we evolved from? I don't know, but
The oldest fossil in our genus is 2.8 million years old, and it's a jawbone and or a mandible. And it just, I think they determined it was part of our genus basically because it was just more robust and like a bigger jaw as compared to Australopithecines. And yeah, they have like, it's pretty accurate the way they're able to use like dental morphology to determine that kind of stuff. So
So just
Or it
Stefan,
can be.
for our viewers, that's Homo habilis and Australopithecus.
Homo habilis and Australopithecus next to each other.
It's just a bloke from Camden.
Pretty
it's
much.
It's a bloke from Camden, bro.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Okay, awesome. That's super interesting. So I mean,
But,
there's a
like-
million years between them? No.
Roughly, I mean, these have all it's all been a slow process, but there's definitely like a million years between Lucy and that Homo habilis specimen I found. Yeah, I found.
You found
yeah,
it.
I excavated all of these.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Just in your garden.
So, yeah.
But, I
I
mean-
want to
okay.
talk about food
cool.
processing though. I want to.
yeah, that's what I think
haven't
we
thought
should
about
get
that.
into.
Do
Because
it.
there is obviously fire, the most famous of all. But that I think we don't have
You're
great
fast
evidence
forwarding
for that.
now.
But I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to. But
Let's go quickly through, and then we can get to all this stuff. So Australopithecus. I feel like we've dealt with that. Then it's Homo habilis. Is that right?
yeah,
Yes.
Is there any?
Yeah.
Is there any other big ones we need to talk about at that point?
Homo habilis. Well, Homo habilis early. All of these like around Homo habilis time could be called like early Homo. Homo habilis. There's one that occasionally gets thrown out like Homo rudolfensis, and you'd
Yeah.
get like early Homo erectus maybe. But these are all, it's hard to, there are different camps. Do we lump them all together? Do we split them up? There's all
I
sorts
think
of debates
it's,
about that. But early Homo
ti-
is like Homo habilis due to like early Homo erectus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your
You go ahead,
braided
David.
stream spiel that you gave me on our pod might be good here. For for the audience listening. You, sorry,
Me?
you're good at explaining that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're all
well,
living contemporaneously, and yeah.
Yeah, there's all these different, in the traditional view of evolution, like as a tree, branches diverge and they never come back. But it's probably better to think about it as like a river delta or like a stream, a stream in the mountains that separates and comes back together. Sometimes a little stream will contribute to a big one. Sometimes there'll be like a major diversion, but thinking about them as like waterways that can separate and come back together and maybe eventually separate is better. Yeah, it's hard to draw like clear lines around any of this stuff.
I like
Pete,
that.
you're
I
kind
like
of asking us questions that have no answer. That people have argued about for
That's-
200 years.
That's what I'm here for, man. That's what I'm here for.
Piltdown Man is real. No.
Yeah.
Piltdown Man. I know. Yeah, I know about Piltdown Man. Yeah. Big hoax. Big hoax. Yeah, that was believed
think,
for what 100 years or something.
Close
I don't
to.
Yeah.
What do you got, North?
I was just gonna say, yeah, we should probably get into like why stone tools made us like different from the other Australopithecines and what they allowed us to do. Is that where you were going, Stefan? I don't know.
Well, what I was going to go is like when we think of food processing and accessing like higher calories, we always leap to fire. But fire seems to have developed, like controlled use of fire seems to have developed way later than any of
Way,
these
Yeah.
hominins were around. I sometimes wonder if they were just like kind of pre-chewing food by just smashing it with a rock. And maybe that was doing some of the work for them.
Like a smashed
Tenderizing it.
burger.
That's just had the ability to just tenderize
That's
it.
a meme. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, get that, man.
I think I can go into a little spiel about like stone tools. I remember covering this in my video about Homo habilis. Is that a lot of like on the African savannah, like whatever, a lion or a cheetah might kill an animal. They eat a little bit because their teeth only allow them to eat so much of the meat, and then like the hyenas might come in and eat some more, and then obviously the birds and stuff. But there's this one study that looked at carcasses of like zebras in Africa, and it found that carcasses that had already fully been eaten by lions and even hyenas still had like something like 70,000 calories worth of meat just like between the ribs or just in weird places that other animals couldn't get to. So
And
with
the
a stone, and hominids wouldn't even be able to eat it either without stone tools because you can't just go chew on it with our little teeth. So yeah, just getting between the cracks and crevices, and then the marrow was huge. Obviously, hyenas can get to marrow, but if we got to the carcass first, so just think of that. Like, imagine trying to get 80,000 calories out of plants. That would take all day of just sitting there like Paranthropus, just chewing all day. But these hominids could just go in and, in a matter of hours or even less, just cut off some big hunks of meat or get all the little trimmings, and then just the protein and everything. And that, that could have helped us facilitate, bigger brains and stuff like that.
Yeah. And as well, I think we were bullying hyenas and lions off of these carcasses too.
I also
agree.
think that. I think for sure we've been bullying animals since day one.
Yeah. I don't think like...
Well, maybe not
even
day
though-
one, but since then for sure.
Yeah. Even though Australopiths was small compared to us now, they're only like a meter tall. That's like 3 foot-ish in American units.
I mean, they were pack animals though, right? So they'd be a
Little
group.
fellas.
But they'd have had to be... Yeah, I don't think we know how many Australopiths were like in a gang, in a family.
gang, I
group.
like that, a gang of
If it's a
Australopiths, like-
chimpanzee troop size, like you got at least
Yeah.
a nuclear family plus a few more.
Yeah.
And if they
Yeah.
have sticks
Yeah.
and they're telling them, go on.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty formidable. I think you could probably take
It's
on
really
most
formidable,
animals.
man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really formidable. If they... Yeah, I bet we would come across like a half-eaten zebra.
Oh
and I
yeah,
bet
get rid
we'd
of
just
everyone
like,
that's there.
get
yeah.
off it, hyena.
Yeah, yeah,
We're gonna,
absolutely.
This is ours now.
Maybe
And
what
since we-
do you think? A pride of lions would probably give us a run for our money though. Or what do you think?
I bet Lucy
And take them on.
was bullying them too.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah,
own.
you've seen those
obviously, I have no
videos.
idea. That's my own. I think
Yeah.
we were bullying
Yeah.
them off it.
There's videos of tribesmen like bullying lions off of carcasses just out of pure confidence. Like
Oh, yeah,
recent videos of them doing that like
Yeah.
the 70s
Oh,
and
damn.
stuff.
What are those?
Yeah.
What are those monkeys that live in like big troops, like huge troops?
Is it
Gelato.
bonobos?
baboons or
Galadas and baboons. I'm thinking of. Yeah.
yeah.
Like they're formidable, man. When a gang of those is like on the move, everyone else is going to get out of their way, I think.
And we're talking
Yeah.
like 50 baboons. Would that be like? Is that right?
There's a
Like
lot.
About yeah. I mean, do you think
Sometimes
that?
they're in huge
More.
groups.
Do you think
And
there would
the
have been
fun
that
thing
many
about-
Australopiths hanging out? Do we think it's like 50 or 100, or is this just something we can't answer?
I don't know. I think we can't answer. 100 might be
Yeah.
a lot, but I think we can't
Yeah.
answer that.
Yeah, but your best bet would be like looking at chimp group dynamics versus human, somewhere in between there. My opinion, but yeah, I don't think we can answer it either.
Yeah, we
But,
can learn so much from chimps. It's awesome.
not bonobos, baboons, and what are the other ones called with the H? I forget their name.
Gelada?
Geladas, the G. They like
Yeah.
also have like fully committed to quadrupedal locomotion, pretty much. They also have like longer, like canine like snouts and stuff too, so that like helps them stay on the savannah, which I always found interesting when I took that primate class, because it's like other ones are fully quadrupedal in the trees, but those ones just dominate the little. And when you like watch them on a nature documentary, they just like flood the area they're in like in space and range. So yeah, it'd be interesting if hominids were doing something similar, but I doubt it, because
I
they're
don't know.
more small.
A quick Google search says the largest chimp community is at Ngogo in Uganda and consists of about 200 individuals.
Well, there we go.
Wow.
But they regularly travel around in like smaller groups, but the wider community is 200. So if Australopithecus was occasionally like grouping into 100, 200, no lion's going to get in our way, man. No
Yeah.
lion 200.
I'm just
No
thinking
way.
of wars between Australopithecus groups, because I know there's skirmishes between chimp groups.
Yeah. It
Big
must have
time.
happened. It must have
Yeah.
happened at some point.
I feel
Yeah.
like North. This is what you need to make a film about Australopithecus war.
We're working on it. We don't have the CGI budget for the Australopithecines yet, but
Awesome, love it. So I suppose next question. Okay, we've sort of done Australopithecines. We're moving on to Homo habilis. Let's talk about Homo habilis. What's the main shtick with these guys?
The handyman.
The handyman.
Well, for sure, like the older one tools, like real obvious modified stone tools, they also might have been the first hominin to leave Africa.
oh wow, okay,
potentiality.
that's big. That's big.
Yeah.
About 2
Yeah.
million years ago, seems like some form of hominin had already left Africa. So, is this Homo habilis, early Homo erectus? You know, these labels are kind of arbitrary, but it's
So up
around
until-
about that time that we left Africa for the first time.
That's super
it
interesting.
seems.
So up until this point, literally everything has taken place just in Africa. Is it all over Africa, or is it like one specific part? Is it everywhere in Africa, or what are we
That's
talking?
depends on the time.
Tanzania.
There's
ish,
definitely
yeah.
like a bias towards the south and the east, but is that you know, truly their range, or is that just a bias in the archaeological record? Hard to say.
Yeah,
Because West
yeah.
Africa is really hard to excavate in.
Yeah,
You know, Congo, places like that.
yeah,
Heavily
huge
forested.
jungle there. Yeah, yeah.
Heavily forested, politically unstable. So does that like distribution actually represent their distribution? Hard to say, but for sure it seems like East and South Africa, strong bias.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically up until this point, everything we've talked about has occurred in Africa. And
Sweet.
Then, yeah, maybe our like toolkits or something allowed us to adapt to new environments, because it's around about this time at 1.8 million years ago that you get the Dmanisi hominins. And they're quite different from Homo habilis, but they're also like kind of primitive. It's not using Acheulean tools. And they're living in Georgia, which would be a way different climate than the savanna of Africa.
Not
So-
Georgia, deep south USA.
Not Georgia in the deep south, yeah.
No.
Georgia. proud
Joseph
nation
Stalin,
state.
Georgia.
Joseph Stalin, Georgia, yeah.
Cool.
So
Interesting. That is quite far away.
And maybe
That is
even by
quite far
2 million
away.
years it already reached China. That's not
Wow.
impossible.
Wow.
So
So
some
Homo-
early
Homo
Homo,
habilis
Homo
was-
habilis, like early Homo erectus, had spread out really far.
So they were travelers.
Yeah,
They were-
something key is definitely key. What changed? I don't know, but something really had changed at that point in time,
And they're walking
Yeah.
upright.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So these are walking upright. They're no longer in the trees. They're just walking in gangs, starting on any animals that they see.
And they're a lot
And-
I
bigger
think-
than Australopithecines too.
They're a
just
lot- so
like
they've grown.
size, they're just larger overall.
Yeah, they've gotten bigger.
But they still have smaller. I believe their limb proportions are a little shorter, so they're not unlike Homo erectus, which had fully like the same limb proportions as we do. Really, I think Homo habilis was still kind of more. The limbs were shorter, so it couldn't run as well probably, and it couldn't throw as well. So those were some of the biggest probably changes that came along with erectus as opposed to habilis.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
nice.
think there's
Okay,
not
that's
loads
cool.
to say about Homo habilis. I think we don't have loads
Yeah.
of specimens.
They're just
compared
like
to later ones.
the prequel season of Homo erectus to me. And
Yeah.
then like
Yeah,
we're season
basically.
3 Homo erectus.
I like it. I
but-
like it. I like it.
But yeah, they
So
just are.
Homo habilis, they're not using fire yet, or
No.
is this
Maybe if it's from a wildfire, but I
It's
don't
from a
even think there's
wildfire.
evidence that they were
they might
using
be
it though.
experimenting?
Yeah. That's just
Interesting.
the
Clothes?
hypothesis to how like fire developed. Clothes,
Yeah.
probably not.
Probably
I
not
mean, maybe
clothes.
like a skin draped over,
Maybe a
like
skin. Yeah.
very loose, like
They probably just found animals that had died in wildfires and then they ate them, but they
Yeah.
definitely not definitely. They don't seem to have been had any. They don't seem to have had any understanding of fire.
And
As
what
far as
about
I know.
body hair? I mean, have they lost their hair yet?
They probably still had quite a bit of hair because they weren't.
Because it's quite
like,
cold
they
in some
weren't-
places outside of Africa,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Caucasian mountains. If you go into Georgia,
They weren't
it's
running
pretty cold up
around
there.
really like Homo erectus, as far as we know. They weren't doing like persistence hunting. They might have, but we don't really know. So they probably still had their hair. And I believe there's some evidence that even like body hair was kept until like 1.8 million years ago. I forget if
Oh,
that's
wow.
based off of like lice or something like that. There's
I
something
think you're right
way that
because
you can
yeah,
tell.
the lice and crabs like have followed humans everywhere.
And that has to
Some
do
of the
with
most
like when we,
successful species ever, lice and crabs,
Yeah, I think
because
so.
of their
Like everything
their
goes.
sort of symbiotic relationship with humans. Sorry, North, I interrupted you
Yeah.
there.
No, that was pretty much all. Yeah, it's just I think they can kind of tell that we probably lost our body hair or our body fur, I should say, because everybody still has body hair, but fur refers to denser accumulations of hair, I guess, and we probably lost that by around Homo erectus. Homo erectus probably mostly had kind of the same kind of skin we have today, or hair covering, I should say. Maybe.
Interesting.
there is
Yeah,
With a grain of
yeah.
salt.
Yeah, nice.
There is
so,
some.
sorry, you go on, Stefan.
Like, if you look at a chimpanzee that's lost all its hair, they're kind of pale skinned because they have all their fur to keep the sun off their skin. And so there is a thing about the evolution of dark skin in humans and genetic estimates of when that occurred. Seems to, I can't remember exactly when it was off the top of my head, but maybe like around 1.5 million years ago.
I think I've seen that. That sounds right
yeah.
to me.
We had the genes for dark skin. So presumably that means that we've lost our fur. David, you're muted. I don't know why.
That's because I was coughing a second ago. Yeah, so I was going to say that then would coincide with us losing fur, because then you
Yeah,
need
yeah.
that extra UV protection.
That's the idea anyway. Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
So you say so? I mean, that's interesting. So I mean, Homo erectus. Would there'd be some black Homo erectus and some white Homo erectus, or not? Have I misunderstood what you just said?
I don't
Stefan?
know. I don't know. It would have been a gradual process, right? The hairlessness
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
dark skin. So I don't think. I mean, they were probably at the time that we have lost fur. Probably there are a variety of skin tones in prehistory, in the same way that there are a variety of skin tones in modern humans.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if once humans are living in very different climates, probably there's some variation there.
Yeah, it does
In the
seem
way
to
that-
vary wildly throughout human cultures.
Yeah, so
It probably wasn't
I
truly
mean, maybe.
light skin, as just no one like they probably didn't have complex clothing enough to cover them, and you can't live outside with just white skin, even if you live. I guess maybe in Georgia, yeah, but like these people are fully exposed to the elements, so it kind of usually helps to have darker skin just for
Yeah, yeah.
sunburn and
Definitely.
cancer and yeah.
Yeah, I don't do well in the sun.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know about you
Not going
guys.
either.
I think I'm the whitest person
But
alive.
even like, but it is, you know, like white people, for example, where my family are from in Eastern Europe, Serbia. My granddad, if he was like, he was a farmer his whole life. In the summer, he would be really dark, man. Like really, really dark tan.
Of course.
You know,
Of course.
now I'm so soft. I just sit in an office and
Oh,
make
yeah.
YouTube videos.
Yeah,
I'm not in the sun farming all day.
Absolutely.
But I'd probably be way darker if I was outside 24 hours a a day. Like,
yeah.
like these
I feel like
people
you,
were.
you seem like you're outside 24 hours a day, North,
No,
firing
definitely not.
atlatls. And
Once in a while, but I'm mostly in here editing videos.
yeah.
Life of a YouTuber.
Yeah.
A lot of time
Yeah.
at the desk.
Hard life.
But I think if there's black and white Homo erectus, there is, which I guess
I
we can
wouldn't say
segue
white.
here.
Let's just say there's like North said, there's a variety of skin tones, man.
But yeah,
Different
it's
shades
true.
of brown, probably. Yeah, don't say. I don't. It wouldn't be white.
But
I'm going to clip
yeah,
that, Stefan, and it's going to be the only thing from this conversation.
like a good TV
Homo
show.
erectus, like drinking a cup of tea, eating a cheese sandwich.
I'll make a short
But-
of it, and it'll go
listening to
viral.
radio too.
The little monocle. But there is ergaster and erectus, and ergaster was the European version, and erectus is the Asian version, correct? Like it did split that way.
I think Ergaster's from East
Am I-
Africa.
Am I swapping?
Am I
that?
wrong?
Okay.
Well, this is the debate about whether to split them or not. Are they all Homo erectus? Is there Homo erectus, Homo ergaster?
Right.
These debates, to me,
Kind of
Tricky,
taken away
man.
from the point of the whole thing.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Like, it's useful to have
Not
labels
really
so that we
important
can
to the story.
identify what's going on, but
Yeah.
if we dwell on the labels too much, it's gonna get confusing, I think. But
Yeah.
Because that. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you go on, David. You go on.
Well, I was gonna say that's where it gets into the out of Africa versus multi-regional, and then it's like the ones that were in Asia became Denisovans, the ones that were in Eurasia became Neanderthals, and then like modern humans come out of Africa and replace both of them. But that's like a whole debate thing too. But that's where that splitting, it makes it confusing. But I just call them all Homo erectus because it seems to be what they are. Yeah, I don't know. I'm maybe Stefan and North have different opinions. But
well, I think probably like, what do I want to say about that? About splitting and
well, I mean, ergaster and erectus, I would call all Homo erectus, not Denisovans. Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, the Homo ergaster, Homo erectus. It's I don't know. I don't know what I want to say about it. It's tricky, man.
I think we
There
should
are-
probably go. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
It's
you.
easier just to say Homo erectus, I think, for the sake of the live stream.
Yeah.
What do you
For the
think?
sake of we've got 2 hour slot. I want to get through to Neanderthals and Denisovans because that's super interesting. But we'll go through Homo erectus first. So that's where we are at the moment. They're wearing clothes. That's right. Wearing clothes. Homo
Maybe a
erectus.
draped
maybe.
skin. I think
A
like,
draped skin.
Homo erectus.
Oh, Neanderthals or Homo
No,
erectus.
we're not there yet.
Okay,
But,
yeah.
Homo erectus. Homo erectus.
I think,
David piped up there. He got really excited. He heard
I think they'd have
Neanderthal.
been smart enough
Found a
to
map
at least
of
make
all this
like maybe not clothing, but I bet bedding. I bet when they bedded down for the night, they'd get under furs and like sleep together under furs, stuff like that. I would bet. But we don't really have any evidence for any of this stuff at that time. Only
Yeah, it's
really
just so
stone
long
tools
ago.
survive. So
Probably
So
talk
so
about
you
their,
thinking? Sorry, North, you go on.
their technology. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was one of the big things about Homo erectus is they turned these really simple kind of flake-based tools into they developed the Acheulean tradition, which flakes both sides of the tool, which is more symmetrical. You know, the whole side is a cutting edge, and it's a point, so you can use it for digging, killing someone you don't like, harvesting anything, shaping wood too. So Homo erectus was, they were using much more complex stone tools. They were probably using wooden spears. We also know
Yeah.
that they were throwing rocks too. Like they found these caches of rocks that are all about the same size, and they hypothesized that was kind of the optimal size for their arm to throw efficiently. So they're probably just pulling up on animals in Africa and just pelting them with stones and throwing spears at them. So they were
Pulling up,
I mean,
I
that's
like
kind
that.
of one of the
Yeah.
yeah, they were really one of the
Drive-by.
first humans human species to like really develop good weaponry and good tool technology. That I mean, that's why they're kind of called the first humans, is they were really living a similar lifestyle to hunter-gatherers.
And we're for
Would
sure
they make
the
shelters?
apex predator by then.
Apex
Like-
predators.
The scavenging versus being the predator debate, by the time Homo erectus is around, it's like we're the predator. I think, not that they wouldn't have scavenged, but we're also like, we're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
primary access to these animals.
Yeah.
So this is the point where our ancestors are just eating everything. Would that be fair to say? We're just sort of like going through to
Yeah,
a
probably.
landscape, getting
I
all the
agree.
meat, getting all the nuts, getting all the fish. Just it's a feast.
I think, is it a feast or is it just like
Maybe not
do
feast,
what you
but
can not to starve
Do what
to
you
death?
can. Yeah, yeah. The opposite. The total.
They're
opposite.
Donnie dusting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Nice,
just
okay, yeah.
don't die. Yeah.
Are they living in shelters? Are they living in tents? Are they living in houses, or are they just outside or in caves? What are
So-
we thinking?
It's my understanding from the work they're doing here at Wyoming is like you can pretty much like making bone needles and the ability to make stitched clothing allowed modern humans to spread out way further than other hominids had before because you can keep that microclimate on you. So being stuck into a thermoregulatory environment like a cave kind of kept that spread across Eurasia and into the Americas more confined to a cave, if that makes sense. But so that would, to me, say that Homo erectus are living in caves, and we find Denisovans and Neanderthals in caves. But
I
they
think there's a lot
might
of
have had
cave
some
living.
kind of dwelling. But or what was that? Sorry.
I think there's a lot of cave living. I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's tricky. So, first, on the one hand, we have no evidence of them building anything, making
Right.
anything. But if you look at their distribution, for the most part, they're staying in warmer climates. But by like 1 million years ago, someone had reached Britain, which is quite far north, obviously. 'Cause you got,
Over a
like,
land
the-
bridge or via boat?
Doggerland.
land bridge for sure.
Land bridge,
yeah. Some form of ancient Doggerland.
Mm.
And so, how long were they in Britain for? Hard to say. How can you live in that environment, without some form of shelter?
Yeah.
Probably pretty
Wouldn't be very
grim
nice.
times. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
very nice to try. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I've slept in some forests at night, and it's not lovely
Yeah.
in England.
but I think
in the
the
winter.
maximum shelters they're building at that time, if they are building anything, would be like a windbreak.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or like
I think
some
there
kind
might
of
be some
hide
evidence-
robe.
There might be some evidence of ring structures made of stones that might have supported. I think there even is evidence that they supported like poles, maybe. I don't recall when it was from. I think it was Homo erectus or maybe Heidelbergensis, though. So they might have made some simple things, but
There's definitely one site in Africa, whose name I can't remember, also, where they interpreted the position of these stones, to act as some form of thing. I can't remember the name of the site, but again, that's so, heavily debated. Is that truly what that ring of stones
Yeah.
suggests? Because it's not like if you saw a modern human do that, it'd be almost like a perfect circle, right? If you were going to do something like that, we'd be very good at it. And these stones are like far from that. But there is like a room in this arrangement of stones. But I think
Interesting.
they would be smart enough to make a windbreak, something like that. I think they wouldn't willingly suffer.
Yeah.
How smart is Homo erectus? I mean, is there any form of speech at this point? Any form of talking?
I don't know. We don't know, man. We don't know.
We
It's
just
so
don't know.
debated. We just don't know.
Yeah.
I think probably some form, like all apes
Some form of
communicate, and
speech.
probably there's some form of like verbal communication. Way
Bit of a
different
nod,
than what we're doing
maybe
right
a
now.
nudge.
Yeah.
Maybe
There's,
like
they're definitely
some
nodding
hand-
and nudging, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Some hand signals.
Definitely like.
Yeah,
give
yeah,
us a couple of-
exactly. A wink at each other.
I
don't know.
think to make bifacial tech, and I think Flint and I disagreed on this, but like his father that was his dad's life's work. Like you have to have some kind of speech or like language to teach bifacial flint napping because it's extremely difficult to learn with modern English right now for a lot of people. But Flint argues that you don't have to have language, which I haven't further asked him more on that yet, but it is an
agree.
interesting
I
date
would
because
agree.
we don't know. Yeah.
I would agree with Flint. I think.
Yeah?
You don't think you could do. You don't think you could do this with just like trial and error, just copying, just watching and copying, over years.
I think you could.
potentially.
I mean, over years makes sense, but it just like at least saying like here, there, strike, like just some basic words I think would make sense. But you could just do that by grunting or pointing. But
I think you don't have to have language to make a Shulian tools necessarily. But
I think it's worth noting
Yeah.
that Homo erectus had like a brain. We didn't even really cover like the growing brain size. Like
I know.
um,
Yeah.
Homo erectus
Let's do that
had
now. Let's do that
a
now.
lot
Please,
bigger
please
brain
do.
than habilis. And
Yeah.
it Homo erectus was around for like a million years, so it varied a lot in their own time. But I believe like early Homo erectus in Africa was like 800 cubic centimeter brain size or something, whereas habilis was like, man, I'd have to look this up, but I think it's like 600 or something. So they really did have a much bigger brain, but obviously bigger doesn't mean better necessarily. Obviously, our brains are smaller than Neanderthals or a lot of Homo heidelbergensis, but obviously the way that our brain is evolved is more sophisticated, generally thought to
Yeah.
be. But
I
So
don't
we've
know if
got
you-
more efficient brains than previous apes, I guess, but they're a bit smaller.
Yeah. I don't know how much you guys can see because I know I'm in a box, but this is Homo habilis, and this is an earlier Homo erectus Takana boy, Nariokotomi boy. You can see there's
Oh,
quite a
the
sizable
Homo
bit of
erectus
brain
is
growth there.
way bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
and
by
they're
the time
bigger
you get
overall
to like
too.
yeah, and then this is when did do you remember when Sangaran 17 lived north?
Is that the one from like Java?
Yeah.
Because I think that's only like,
look at you guys.
I don't even know, 300K or 100K ago, or
No. This is older than that one, but they did live until that time. But this would be a later Homo erectus, like 800,000 years ago, according to bone clones. So again,
Yeah.
sizable brain growth.
Shoot, I just had a map.
And like, there's probably like close to 1 million years that separates these two.
And
Very
what's the
different brain
reason
shape.
for the brain growth?
It's got to be like, intelligence has got to be a factor in it. Like,
So
intelligence.
doesn't
intelligence
necessarily
leads to
mean
more
better, but
intelligence, and
there's got to be
keeps-
some like growing intelligence there.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's Sangrean
Interesting.
down there, in Asia somewhere. But
And that's Homo
So-
erectus.
yes,
Yeah.
I think you made
But
a
you
video
can-
about this at some point, Stefan, and I think you were hypothesizing whether Homo erectus used boats. I think this is years ago. Do you remember that video?
Yeah.
Was that you who made that? Do you still think
Well,
that
someone
they
had
used
to make it
boats?
to the island of Flores. I wouldn't say a boat, but did they hold
A
onto
raft.
a log? Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Because someone had to make it to Flores for Homo floresiensis to exist.
And Luzon too, so
And
that's
Luzon.
even, that might even be further. I forget how the geography works, but
I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think, yeah. So
So Homo
someone was, like-
floresiensis, they're the hobbits,
they're the
and
hobbits, yeah.
they shrink again. So Homo erectus is getting bigger and bigger, and then if you're on an island, you get smaller,
seems to be the
I-
case.
Here's
Oh, there you go.
very small.
here's the two. That's Floresiensis and Erectus. But we're
Pretty
kind
cool.
of fast forwarding. We got to get to like the middle Pleistocene, and even
No,
more,
we're so,
the most
it's so
complicated
hard
part.
to stay in chronology though, like when you're talking about these things.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. When I give lectures at schools or like Zoom talks, and they ask like anthro questions, that like picture of human evolution where it's like the one that we used for the thumbnail for the video is like kind of wrong and outdated.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
I think. Well, I mean the thumbnail, yeah, it's fun, but like the
yeah.
when people ask about human evolution, I'm like, whatever you think of that little like raising, AT&T signal,
Yeah.
that's not it. Like it's more
Yeah.
of like the braided stream. So it's like
Of course.
it's kind
Yeah.
of ruined the way a lot of the public understands evolution. Because
Sometimes I feel bad for that
it's
image
so-
though, because like
It's cool.
at some point you have to simplify things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No,
it's
exactly.
hard.
But it does lead to the misconception that creationists sometimes say when they deny evolution, and they say, "I didn't evolve from a chimpanzee," and it's
Right.
like
Yeah,
you didn't.
it's
You
not
didn't
like
evolve from a
Pokemon.
chimpanzee.
That's true.
That's
you
that's
didn't
not
evolve
what
from that.
that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's
A lot
it's
of
not
these
as simple as
species
that.
are contemporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone in South Africa didn't come from a Neanderthal in Spain, so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
like
yeah.
makes it difficult. Yeah.
So
Sorry, I had that was a point to something someone said earlier, but continue. We're gonna talk about
I haven't even been looking at the comments. Who knows what
Oh,
people have been
We'll
saying?
get there. We'll get there because I'm just gonna we're gonna keep going. We're gonna get to
Log
the
up
end of
your-
Homo
I don't even know
erectus.
how to see
I
them.
think if you look on
I
the
pulled up
YouTube,
Oh.
YouTube, but
Yeah,
there's a chat button at the
external.
bottom right on Riverside here.
oh, can you do it on Riverside?
Mhm.
Oh man, I'm so
Yeah, chat, and it says 99
terrible at
plus at the
technology.
bottom for me.
I have YouTube open in a different tab. So Homo erectus spreads literally across the face of the planet. Do they get to the Americas?
Well,
I don't even think they got to Australia.
I'll say no,
So-
They
but
did-
other people might disagree.
Yeah,
I'll say no with a 5% maybe.
interesting. Because I thought no, but I thought I'd just ask you guys. So you guys are the experts.
I'll say 5% maybe only because of there is a site in Russia where I mean Homo erectus it's probably not. Nah, we'll stick with no. We'll stick with no. But there
Yeah.
because I'm jumping forward in time too much. But there is
Yeah.
like a 400,000-year-old site in Russia, which is like at least in terms of is it the latitude? At least in terms of the latitude is level with like half of Alaska.
Right.
So, you know, they seemingly could survive in a climate cold enough by that time. But I should have said no because now I'm jumping forward again in time so much.
But Homo erectus spreads pretty far. It's pretty far, and
Yeah.
what I'm going to ask
From-
is basically what happens. There's a period of time when you have Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and Denisovans. Would that be fair to say, or is that not quite right? Are they all evolving sort of separately? Some people are sort of staying Homo erectus, others are becoming Neanderthals, or is that a simplistic way of looking at it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like with all of it, it's super confusing. But like, Homo erectus kind of regionally evolves into those different, regionally distinct hominids, in my opinion.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so? Because then,
Well,
from where I'm coming from, then modern humans come out of Africa fully evolved and then replace those populations. But that gets into debates. So I'll let Stefan or North take it from there.
Do I want
Stefan's got
to?
it.
You can disagree with me, is what I'm saying.
Maybe both. Yeah, you could. Both you say something. I think.
This is
What-
so
like, what do you
complex.
think?
This is
Yeah.
so complex, but there is this idea, you know, like this multi-regional idea, where Homo erectus sort of spreads out across the earth, and it's all slowly evolving into these different populations, and you know, on the one hand, with the discovery that like admixture that modern humans and Neanderthals admixed, it kind of supports that multi-regional idea. But sometimes I think we overlook the fact of these like hard sweeps in human evolution, where, for example, like when modern humans left Africa, we took over, man. We took over. Any population that wasn't us assimilated or dead quick. That could have happened
Gone
many
like the
times.
hyenas.
Yeah, that could have happened many times in human evolution. Different hominins could have evolved. Like,
That's a
there's
good
not
point.
just one out of Africa. There could have been, over the course of these 2 million years, many sweeps of human populations. One population just expands, all others contract. And it doesn't necessarily have to be even like out of Africa. Populations could have gone back into Africa. So, you know, it's without genetic evidence, we really can't say for sure, I think, what process is going on.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't overlook the role of like strong, hard sweeps in human evolution, in the same way that that happened with the out of Africa 50,000 years ago. It could have happened 1 million years ago. It could have happened 800,000 years ago. There's you know plenty of capacity for stuff like that to go on.
We heard
Yeah.
it here, folks. Stefan is a fan of strong, hard sweeps.
I'm
So-
not necessarily a fan of them, but at least hypothetically they exist.
He believes in
not
them. He believes in
participating in
strong,
them.
hard sweeps.
To,
Yeah,
to
all right, awesome.
summarize that, though, you would say that the second out of Africa was a clean sweep of we're all modern human now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
it's hard to say. Like,
it's so
obviously
hard
we
to
did
say
admix with
definitively.
Neanderthals, but there was clearly one population that was like the population of humans was presumably larger than Neanderthals,
Right.
because why is it only such a small contribution of Neanderthals to the modern genome, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like total. We admix with them, and all of this stuff, but populations can for sure go locally extinct. Could have happened all the time. in
Right.
Human
Right.
evolution. Like this population, where'd I put them? Like Sangaran 17, is there like admixture of these Asian Homo erectus into like populations of Denisovans? Big? Maybe. People are trying hard to find Homo erectus DNA within the genetics of Denisovans. But it's also entirely possible that the common ancestor of Neanderthals, Denisovans, modern humans, did like a hard sweep across the continent, you know, and other populations that existed before then had either died out before that or died out sometime during that, you know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it, but I would say it's not necessarily the case that all of this just slowly evolved into these populations. There's all sorts of things that could have happened.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like
Should
that.
should we talk about how, like, during the Middle Pleistocene stuff, like the different paths, you know, like the Neanderthals in Europe were evolving more squatter morphology, while us in Africa were, you know, getting our taller, lankier build, and, you know, the Denisovans were doing their own thing, obviously. But I don't know, just to try to break down the Middle Pleistocene into more of a understandable, I don't know, time period.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Go
you're
for it,
better
man.
at me
Yeah,
than that.
Please do. Yeah, please do.
Like, so
Please
have
do.
we gotten past? So have we gotten past how, like, our last common ancestor kind of spread over Eurasia and Africa, like, because
Tell us.
the last common ancestor with Neanderthals and Denisovans, didn't it appear kind of probably in like the Levant area before spreading out, or I don't even know.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the Levant yet.
I think we don't know.
Because
I
there
think we
was
don't know where
at
the
some
common
point a
ancestor has lived.
population between our last common ancestor with Neanderthals and Denisovans, because that was a population at one point.
There was a population at one point. I don't think we know where they live. But
Okay.
if you had to bet, I would bet like Western Asia, North Africa,
Yeah.
that sort of region. I would bet that, but yeah.
Because then we ended up splitting off, and the Neanderthals evolved to really adapt to like the Arctic conditions, depending on the, you know, era and year and stuff. And then we, you know, evolved mainly in East and Southern Africa, and we evolved to be a longer species that a lot lankier. And then, man, there's just too much going on in Asia to even. But I think it's also important to mention, have you guys heard about or read about the ghost hominids of West Africa?
Yeah, yeah.
I just did a video on that, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And it's kind of interesting to note that, like, they got replaced by the Homo sapiens too when they spread out. Not only, you know, they spread out all over the world, but also Africa's so big that there's other parts of Africa that they got conquered basically by the Homo sapiens too. And even just a little bit of their genetics survives in the modern day. But
Yeah.
I don't know, should we jump in? Where should we go with this?
Super interesting.
like
There's
a
many
narrative.
places we can go. We will go to all these places. I think. At the moment, we've got to sort of roughly the end of Homo erectus, which would. When does Homo erectus end? What do we think? What is there? This is not a hard date, obviously, but it's like
A million.
a million years ago. That's good.
800,000.
That's
Yeah.
nice and
Well,
easy. All right,
Well,
didn't they kind of survive in Southeast Asia until like 100,000 years
Well,
ago?
they might have survived in
Yes.
Indonesia until 100,000 years
Yes.
ago. Yeah.
But that's good,
They,
that's good,
But they
because-
could also be Denisovans, man.
yeah.
'Cause-
So we have this world basically where there are numerous different hominid groups. We've got
Dozens, definitely.
Dozens.
I think for the purposes of the live stream, by the time Denisovans, Neanderthals, and humans are living in Eurasia, we can say Homo erectus is like defunct.
On the
If-
way
if
out,
that
anyway.
makes sense.
Surviving maybe
Yeah.
on islands and things and cut off. But yeah,
Yeah.
largely. What would happen if a Homo erectus met a Homo sapiens or a Neanderthal? I mean, is there going to be war?
That's a
Sometimes
that's a
yes,
North question.
sometimes no.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
in the long course of human evolution, any scenario you can imagine probably happened one time. I think. I think. What? Maybe I can tee this next part up, and then one of you guys can take it off. But we've gotten to this point, right? Homo erectus is spread across the world. But this point is called the muddle in the middle because we have all these groups of different hominins. We don't have a clear idea of how they relate to each other, and we don't have a clear idea of how they relate to us. We just have, these middle Pleistocene hominins. Eventually, some of them would evolve into modern humans, Neanderthals, Denisovans, but we don't have a clear idea of how any of these populations relate to each other, basically.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like Neanderthals, Denisovans, and modern humans evolved. And North, you wanted to talk a little bit about their evolution?
yeah. Well, I guess I kind of got into it already. I guess they developed just like regional morphologies for their, they adapted to the region that they were living in, basically. I mean, that's why we look so different than a Neanderthal. A lot of it is because we evolved, mainly in more tropical parts of Africa. That's why we were taller, our limbs are longer, and Neanderthals were, they were very short and squatter, but they were like thicker than any modern human population alive today. Like, what is it? La Ferrasi won that famous Neanderthal skull. Like, I think they estimate he was like 5'3" and like 190 pounds or something. So, just like, and that's like
Juicy.
muscle too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they were.
Big guy. Big squat guy.
Somewhere in there, La Ferrasi. But,
Yeah,
anyway.
Oh,
And they-
nice.
but they didn't probably have the most complex clothing in the world, so they just kind of got through winter by being just big and bulky. A lot of it, Then that's kind of like that's what Denisovans were kind of probably adapted like to. We don't know how tall they were. We don't have that remains. They probably most likely weren't giants, unlike what people will tell you on the internet. But
It's
but
always
yeah,
giants.
so most of Eurasia was full of these kind of squatter hominids, and they also hunted up close a lot of times and got injured all the time. So being 190 pounds at 5'3" is going to help you out when you get hit by a megaloceros or something bumps into you and steps on you.
Yeah.
Well, as we were in Africa where you don't, if you weighed that much, you would be sweating and just in miserable shape your entire life. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why populations generally in Africa are a lot lankier is because of they have to shed that excess heat. So that's kind of what led to
Yeah.
the morphology of our species is being longer, taller, and just able to persistence hunt. We can run for hours and hours, whereas Neanderthals were built. I mean, they were built for sprinting short distances and stuff like that. So that's really why, like our difference compared to the other Middle Pleistocene hominids. That's kind of what made us stand out, I'd say.
And consuming less calories too, it's hypothesized. There's a lot of estimates that Neanderthals needed a lot more calories than us.
Like
Which,
5,000 a day or 6,000 a
yeah,
day, whereas
sometimes
we could
that-
get by on, 1,700 or something.
Yeah. I mean,
You gotta
yeah,
keep
there's
warm.
a lot of estimates. Sometimes I wonder, like, is it really 5,000 or stuff? Because it seems so high.
That's a lot of food.
When you're in the winter and you don't have a winter coat and you're just sitting there kind of shivering, I mean, even
Yeah.
the Inuit will sometimes eat because they're just eating straight meat and fat, so they can eat over 4,000 calories in a day, which is crazy to me. I can't even imagine getting above like 3,000. Just tap out after that usually.
Yeah.
But
I'd give it a go, I think.
I could try. Yeah.
Yeah.
depends what you're eating, I guess.
I talked to that Eats History guy, and he was saying that, like based on like the Epicurus, like Roman cookbook stuff, or like what the centurions are eating, centurions in Europe when it was warm would have been having to eat, I think he said like 3,000 calories a day, just marching, carrying their packs, and then like they're making roads at night and stuff too. So yeah, a Neanderthal eating 5,000 calories a day is a lot because you're doing a lot of walking, you're doing a lot of hunting, and then yeah, you got to burn that thermoregulation or else you're gonna freeze. So
Yeah.
a lot of meat. I get
Lots
a lot
of
of
meat.
a lot of fat. I guess. Yeah.
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 I mean, I've
And
burned
All things
like
being equal, that's a
1,500 calories
disadvantage.
just on a run before. So imagine if you're running all day and hiking all day, you're burning at least
A lot.
1,500 calories, if not
Yeah.
more. So, and you have to
Yeah.
eat more to be able to not lose weight. And yeah, so
Just before we fully go into Neanderthals and Denisovans, which super interesting. Is there any? Are there any honourable mentions that we should have spoken about that we've missed up until this point? Somebody mentioned, what's the name? The vegetarian guy, Boisei. Paranthropus. Paranthropus. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. What happens to him
there we go.
or her? Where do they go?
Died out.
Well, they gave us herpes and then they died out. Put it bluntly.
Wow.
I mean, it's not entirely confirmed, but they're pretty sure that Paranthropus or another hominid from that era transmitted genital herpes from, what is it? Is it HSV2 or whatever? Yeah, they transmitted it from the chimpanzees, actually. It came from the chimpanzees to them to us, according to the thinking.
Wow.
But
Okay.
yeah,
So we've had herpes for a long time then.
Guys, Tori
Yeah.
Maza is in
And
the
by
chat.
us,
Someone put it in
North means literally. Like us four.
Yeah.
With herpes.
We were all given herpes by Paranthropus. Yeah. Don't ask any questions.
there. Yeah, it's on the list of things I have to talk to my doctor about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is there?
yeah, they
Are there
kinda
any
just
other?
disappear.
Yeah. Any other crazy apes like Paranthropus that we should talk about? Like super
I
interesting.
think it's
weird
worth noting that
cousins?
Paranthropus lived for like over 1 million years alongside like Homo erectus and or Homo habilis and just early Homo, which is just crazy. Like they're interesting because they show that they're pretty much, I've heard them described as the cows of the human lineage. Because instead of doing all the tool stuff and eating meat and stuff, they're like, I'm just gonna get really good at just eating a lot of grass and other stuff. And it's just a great example of how evolution it's not trying to get like more advanced and more advanced. It's like, dude, I'm just gonna do whatever works to
Just do one
reproduce.
thing. Yeah.
So we got
Yeah.
herpes from the most cow-like one.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah.
No, only joking.
Try not to make a Welsh joke, but I'm chill.
Well, I mean, whilst we're speaking of that, we've got to mention Homo naledi then.
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up.
Honorable
Yeah.
mention. So Homo naledi is small-brained hominin. When they were first found, they thought the dating would come back like 1 million plus years ago because they're kind of so different like that. They're kind of more like Homo habilis almost. And then it came back, 200,000 to 300,000 years old, something in that range. And so obviously they had, whilst all of this, like human evolution is going on, like we're getting bigger, we're spreading out, blah, blah, blah. There was like a population, at least in southern Africa, of small Homo habilis-like humans that persisted throughout all of this. So
So they've just stayed the
that's
same
really
for
crazy.
millions of years.
I wouldn't say the same, but they stayed
No.
small. Let's put
They
it
stayed
like that.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
And it's also worth noting we've only found them, I believe, in one cave in South Africa, which
Yeah,
is just
one cave.
shows you how much we've really lost in terms of the fossil record. Like,
Huge
if
sample
that
size.
cave were to have been destroyed, we would know nothing about this entire lineage that existed for over 1 million years. Probably consisting, hundreds of thousands of hominids that had lived, but we just have one cave.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what their distribution truly was. I wonder if they were just like stuck to that specific region or
I don't know.
this population was really spread out. I don't know. Because sometimes you can get a population of animals that just like sticks to one really small area. I can't think of any example off the top of my head, but
Like any
people
island.
People from Derby. Just a East Midlands rivalry joke there. We'll move on. I'm from Nottingham, so you know.
No, you're not. Don't you dare
Sorry,
say
anyone.
that.
I live in Nottingham. I'm sorry, Stefan. I've insulted our ancestors there. I'm from
We're
the great
proud
British
men
county of Worcestershire,
Yes.
but I live in Nottingham. But yeah,
There's a place in North
Worcestershire
Carolina
through and through.
or South Carolina where they speak with like an old timey British accent still. That was the joke I was gonna make, but I can't remember the name of the place, so we'll go with Derby. But
They sound strange in Derby. It's like there's a lot of interesting regional accents, and Derby is one of the interesting ones, I would say. Yeah, maybe Homo naledi were like that.
I was gonna bring up with that too.
Pleistocene.
I've talked with I don't want to say I'm a hater on Naledi, but I have talked with multiple paleoanthropologists, not on podcasts professionally, like off to the side where they've given me their real opinions. And it seems to be a good 50-50 split of like it's BS or I'm completely sold. And I have yet to find like people in the middle, which is interesting to me, or at least not maybe some people in the middle, but it's just interesting because it's such a unique find and the way Stefan just defined it. Like there's only one left in that cave.
So BS
then-
as in it was excavated incorrectly, or like
Either
just
through
dated
excavation, it was, I think Flint was pretty vocal about like they were hastily publishing on it or something.
Well, I think-
And then another thing is like, is that actually fire? Is it just burning? Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
No, I think that by BS, they existed, and they seemingly existed in the time period that the dating suggests. But there were other claims made about, did they do deliberate burial? Did
Right.
they make fire? Did they even
Artwork.
have like some sort of like symbolic scratching on the cave, stuff like that? So there's those types of behaviors would be, really advanced.
pretty
you could
human-like,
say, pretty
pretty
human-like.
advanced. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so
But-
there's been a big debate about those, especially because they were published in a journal that doesn't
Yeah.
use like a peer review model and all of that stuff. But Homo naledi definitely did exist. Like
I would
this
agree
isn't
with that.
a pill down man situation.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
All
So I
right.
should specify that the symbolic use stuff is what's in debate. But yeah, sorry, continue.
No, I was just gonna say, right, last 40 minutes, we've got to do Neanderthals now. We've got to do Neanderthals, we've got to do Denisovans and Homo sapiens. But it's the other guys first, is it? Or we're all just
Who's
at
first?
we're all at the same time? Because modern Homo
We're all
sapiens,
contemporary.
like modern Homo sapiens, leaves Africa. What is it, 50,000 years ago or
About then, yeah.
thereabouts? Yeah, but evolving for a long time before that in Africa.
And leaving
Why-
Africa.
why-
And
failing,
also leaving
too.
Africa occasionally too.
Yeah.
Why are we?
But they
Why
just
were
failed.
us lot so successful compared to the Neanderthals and the Denisovans? And is it really that simple? Or I mean, I know that there's Neanderthal DNA in pretty much everybody or a lot of people in the world, and there's maybe a bit of Denisovan DNA.
I
Let's
think
just dive in.
I think it's important to mention those early failed migrations because we actually have a lot of evidence that like Homo sapiens was trying to leave Africa for thousands and tens of thousands of years, and they were leaving. Some they made it to like Saudi Arabia, some places in the Levant, and they'd go live there for a little bit, and then they'd disappear. And it wasn't, and genetically we know it wasn't until Stefan knows probably more about the genetics than I do, but like around 50, 60, 70,000 years ago is when we actually first started to leave Africa genetically, but we had tried for tens of thousands of years. So it's not that
Hundreds
we
of
were
thousands.
immediately so superior. Yeah, hundreds of thousands. We weren't just superior because we're so cool and we're Homo sapiens. It was like we tried for a long time, and presumably other species tried to expand into other ranges. Maybe Neanderthals had tried to make it into Africa. We don't have evidence of it, but so it wasn't until that wave, we don't know why that wave was so successful, but they were extremely. But we also shouldn't take away from the other hominids, like Neanderthals were developing technology and they were developing fire too. We see like they were definitely advancing over the same period that we were as well.
So Neanderthals definitely making fire, definitely cooking food, wearing clothes, not necessarily making shelters, but would anybody?
I think a Neanderthal
Think
could
they
have made
were.
a shelter by that
Yeah.
point.
I think
that-
they did.
yeah.
I think we have
Yeah,
evidence they
there's
worked
evidence of
wooden.
that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And making art as well. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair to say. Yeah.
That was debated until like the last 5 years or so. Now I think it's pretty unanimous that they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually
What
probably
about-
made the first cave art, at least cave painting. I believe Blombos Cave might have older art, but it's not on the cave walls, I don't think. So I don't
It's
know.
argued that the oldest like handprint on a wall we have would have been made by a Neanderthal, which is interesting.
Super interesting. Super
And
interesting.
there's-
Yeah. So
there's
these are
a-
really,
there's
really
different sites in
sophisticated
Spain.
people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Not much else to do when you're stuck in a cave starving.
We should probably
Yeah,
mention the
it's-
tools too of the like the Maltarian and Levallois tools that developed.
go for it, because you know.
Yeah,
You're the
yes, if I
nat-
brought it up. So you know, before it was like a lot of the main tool was the hand axe, and they would take flakes off of a core and shape it into something like this, and they could cut and do all those kinds of things. But starting around roughly 300,000 years ago, instead of using the core as the tool, they also got really good at taking off specific flakes from cores. So this just looks like a piece of stone right here, but it was actually prepared specifically to have this ridge right here. So then you can go like this and take off a ready-made point
Oh, wow.
that you could put on a spear or just use as a knife or something like that. But that was the big development that both Homo sapiens and Neanderthals had come up with around 300,000 years ago, whether they taught each other or who knows. But so that was a huge change in stone tool technology that really defined those early times in Neanderthal and Homo sapien existence.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, are Homo sapiens and Neanderthals they're not living in the same areas necessarily?
Not
in
until
overlapping areas.
300,000.
Yeah.
So there would be some overlap.
I think they were
Definitely,
trading
yeah.
quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well,
Because
there's
there's
like-
Neanderthals in sort of the Levant, right? There's Neanderthals kind of in Shanidar Cave is the one that I think of, which is like
Yeah.
in Kurdistan.
Yeah.
There was
And
probably
then-
overlapping populations of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens that lived, alongside each other many times over the course of human evolution. Because the admixture that we have from like 50,000 years ago, that's just one of the instances of admixture. We know about another one that happened about 180,000 years ago, which seemingly replaced like the Neanderthal Y chromosome with a Homo sapiens Y chromosome. We can see, there's the Neanderthal Y chromosome. Neanderthals are more closely related to Denisovans, but their Y chromosome is more closely related to our Y chromosome, I think, is how it breaks down. Someone, a geneticist in the comments is probably going crazy at me, but the hypothesis is that that was as a result of an admixing event. Like all of these humans, it's like two pieces of ink dropped on a piece of paper, right? There are like core regions of both of them where there's no admixture, but where they get closer, this ink is going to start bleeding together. And
a good way to
and-
put it.
You're good with the analogies. I like that one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. That's like
Thank
the
you.
river one as well. Yeah.
And so, there are, if you went back in time like 100,000 years ago to the Levant, to Western Asia, and you stumbled across one of these populations, are they Neanderthals? Are they modern humans? Are they, there could be something in between, depending on the time period that you get there. So all these things
So
are really complex.
something that just hasn't survived necessarily. Yeah.
But then there was a population 50,000 years ago of modern humans that went bananas, and all modern humans outside of Africa descend from that population. So something changed at that point in time, it seems.
Have you heard of the idea of the cognitive revolution kind of thing that may have like kick-started creativity and things round about 50,000 years ago, something like that? What do you think of that? Is there a point where kind of like sophisticated language develops and art and things like that, or is it not quite as simple as that? Can't remember who talks about this. Some theorist. has that
I think
idea.
it's kind of an old way to look at it that appeared 50,000
Yeah.
years ago, because now we've learned more that though a lot of those things date way back to Africa, like Blombos Cave, South Africa, 70,000, or what is it, even closer to 100,000 years ago,
close
some
to
remains
100,
down
yeah.
there. yeah, that show that they had, they were making complex artwork. They had really complex stone tools, and yeah, so those things are probably have really deep roots in Africa. And
Yeah.
another thing that may have helped us was a new weapon, the Ocelot, or the spear thrower. David, didn't you say you wrote something about that, about how it probably appeared in Africa?
Yeah, that's my master's thesis.
Yeah, can you explain that to us?
Like there's an older evidence of like the bow technology 70,000 years ago with those little microblades and quiver formations, but the atlatl could have been used way longer than that and probably was because you don't even need to put a point on the end. You can just sharpen a stick, and just it's easier to take a stick and a second stick than to make a bow. So it makes sense that the atlatl is way older, and I think it would be because it leaves Africa and is in Eurasia, gets all the way to Australia as well. And like Australia never invents the bow technology or gets it diffused in, which is interesting.
They had no bow technology.
Nah, the Polynesians might have brought some at some point, but it doesn't seem that they did. And then the bow technology only appears in the Americas like 1,000 years ago, and it spreads like wildfire. Which is it an independent invention? Did it get diffused from the Inuit, or did the Norse bring it? Maybe like that. I didn't really talk about that in my thesis, but I've thought about that more lately. But yeah, like 1,000 years ago, right as agriculture spreads everywhere, they start using the bow. But yes, the atlatl I think is an ancient human weapon. I don't know if Neanderthals were using it though.
Would you
But
hazard a guess as to how old?
if the bow technology, I would argue, is like 70,000 years old, I'd say the atlatl's like at least 100,000.
Wow.
But that's just purely surmising because you can't find one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it makes sense that they would have it. You could track the elbow use maybe, but
Interesting.
it's rare to find bones that old anyway. Yeah.
I think can we stay on this like cognitive revolution
Yeah.
50,000 years ago?
Please
'Cause
do. Yeah. Please do.
North is 100% right that was an older way of thinking about it because we didn't have, we've just learned more since then. We found Neanderthal art. We found older art in Africa. We found more sophisticated tools. But I still think there has to be something maybe that changed around that 50,000 year mark. I could be wrong on this, but
I agree.
maybe it was something like the bow and arrow seems to have appeared around that time. It's also the first time we get really detailed art of animals is around that time. Not just in Europe, but in Asia too. So it's not necessarily that like anything had changed cognitively, but maybe something had really changed culturally. Because if you think about like in
Yeah.
prehistory, these small groups of people are just roaming the earth. It's like now it's so easy for us to build on ideas of previous generations, but that was really hard back then because people were so spread out, populations were so small. Just a few people dying out could destroy the knowledge that your community had. So I'm not necessarily saying that there's like a cognitive change, but maybe enough like cultural information had built up where a different way of life had emerged that was more successful than previous ways that humans have been living.
And then that can
'Cause
be
we have to
passed
find
down to
some
the
way
next
to explain
generation.
it.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Do you mind if I elaborate there?
go for it.
I think, especially in like Spain, France, and I guess Italy too, where they're painting a lot of the cave art there, it looks like a cognitive evolution, like just a leap right there. But you also, it's like hominids now occupying an area that's not full of other people. Like in Africa, there's probably competition over each of those caves. This one, it's their cave for multiple winters. Then they didn't have time and better food processing techniques, food preservation techniques to like not, starve over the winter, and they have time and the calories to like create art and do all that in that time period. So it's not like our brains all of a sudden right then just switch, but like Stepan's
Yeah.
saying, a cultural evolution where it's like, okay, we have that ability already, had it for thousands of years. Now we have the time, and the safety to do this, and that
Yeah.
then spreads like wildfire, because then you can have more storytelling, have more, whether cave art or not is like a form of writing, passing knowledge down better, something like that. But that I would agree. Yeah.
You can
'Cause we have
form
to
a
find some way-
full-on religion if you can like tell stories and pass it on. There's so many things that you can do.
It could be
which-
something like that. It could be something like that. There has to be some reason why that particular expansion of humans expanded so rapidly, seemingly at the expense of all the others. I don't
We
know.
do know that tools did definitely change with that expansion as well. We see like the Upper Paleolithic toolkit comes into play, and where before I showed you these Lavalwa tools where they'd take these flakes that they preferred, like a triangle flake that you could easily use as a point. During
that?
our spread out of Africa, or we saw developing in Africa 50 to 70,000 years ago. Stone points definitely did get a lot more complicated, which is a testament to our brains and our cultural complexity. But also, these tools were just more effective in a lot of ways. A lot of them kind of look like this, where they're more cylindrical cores. And this is something I guess you'd see later in Europe and stuff. And then what they would take off of these is these little flakes that we call blades or micro blades or bladelets, whatever. And what you could do with these is put them into projectiles like this, like a composite projectile, which might be made out of bone or antler, and they would inset these stone points or these stone blades, and you kill an animal with it, and you can just replace these when they get dull. And just the idea of even making something like this is just kind of a testament to the complexity that was developing. And so yeah, that's one way we can look at it, because stone tools obviously survive forever. So that's like one of the ways that we can actually see a change that something that we were developing that other hominids didn't have, basically.
Yeah.
You
So
could
there's
do all
cer-
sorts
there's-
of that, like harpoons, all sorts of stuff.
There's a
Yeah.
passing down from one generation to the next, isn't there? There's this communication. And
Definitely.
earlier we were talking about whether one of the hominins was able to actually converse and teach each other how to do the flint napping. They can definitely do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
can
Neanderthals
definitely
definitely
do it at
did it
this point.
too,
Yeah.
I
but
think they did it too, yeah.
it was maybe more complex now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could Neanderthals
It's really hard to make
speak?
Neanderthal points, though. Super hard.
I believe it's pretty for sure that they did, because they evolved the hyoid bone, which means you can move your tongue more complexly.
Well, their hyoid is similar to ours, but yeah.
And then there's that meme of the BBC guy going like 1, 2, 3.
I
Whatever
saw that
thing is.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. I don't think they had higher.
I hope that
voices.
is.
I'm pretty sure that they kind of just, or maybe someone used to think that, but
It's
Just
the most
strongest
absurd-
guy
that
you've
video.
ever seen being like, hi there.
Maybe that's why the Homo sapiens got rid of them.
Like if anything, they'd have like deeper chest and be like, hey, but
Yeah.
not higher.
Yeah. So they're speaking. There's Neanderthal language.
Probably.
Um,
I think it would be really hard to explain the admixture if they didn't have language, because we're so language driven. And not to be too crass, but you could make beautiful love to anything, right? Language ability or no. But it's not just
well,
about like
Paranthropus boisei.
exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not, that isn't necessarily about language, but
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is their children were successful enough in that community to also have children and children and
Yeah.
children and children. So it's
Yeah.
not just it's. I think it's hard to explain that if they're not talking like us, because that we're
Yeah.
just so language focused. I don't know.
Do you
Yeah.
think there may have been tribes or clans of Homo sapiens and Neanderthals living alongside one another, or would it be one would
Definitely.
go to live in another tribe
100%.
sort of thing? So you think
Yeah.
there'd be mixed groups of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens living together?
Probably, yeah, because probably these admixing communities, it's not like a Homo sapiens community takes in one Neanderthal. You know, these are people that are probably living in like mixed communities somewhat. Presumably, Homo sapiens outnumber Neanderthals, because why do we expand so rapidly if not? But yeah, I think there would be like, if you went back to a community where it's like Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, you know, who knows? Maybe like 10% of them were Neanderthal or something. Who knows? Like,
Yeah.
there's some genetic study I've been meaning to track down. There's what's the geneticist? Something Reich? Is it David Reich? See you north.
We've lost North.
I didn't like that opinion. I don't know
I think
the
he can.
researcher's name,
I think he can join again.
but
David Reich, geneticist. Yeah,
David Reich.
he mentioned in a podcast interview
better than third.
something about like I'm not going to respond to that, David. Yeah, he mentioned in a podcast interview. I can't remember off the top of his head, but it was something like 1 in 6 Neanderthals or something in the community. 1 in 6 people in that community might have been Neanderthals at that time. Like
Wow.
these were for sure like mixed communities, but I'm not sure where that study that you mentioned that came from. But for sure, people were living in mixed communities. I think to a certain
Super
Yeah.
interesting. I suppose that the most successful Neanderthals were the ones who lived with the Homo sapiens, I guess, because they didn't
Yeah.
die out.
And yeah, you could argue that they never died out. That like the Neanderthals, just a population of mixed Neanderthals. That it wasn't Homo sapiens that spread out around the world. It was a population of mixed Neanderthals and Homo sapiens.
Because we're
but
probably all three of us have some sort of Neanderthal in us.
I definitely
assume.
do.
100%. You can't not. You can't not. You
Yeah.
literally can't not.
So we are all testament to those last Neanderthals that lived with the Homo sapiens.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think we all, either whether it's Pokemon or some way of classifying things where everything's distinct with its own number and like has to be separate. Like I think Neanderthals and humans, like it would have been more beneficial to interact rather than like be at war with each other or like they're different. Like when you have a landscape full of hyenas, crows, and bats, like a Neanderthal is going to look much more human to you than, you know,
Yeah.
a fox.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense that like we have a bias now where we look at them just as bones and something very different, but back then it would have just been like another human that maybe spoke a little differently. I could be
Yeah,
off
yeah,
in that,
yeah.
but that's my and I have like a romanticized like a Tory view of prehistory in that sense, but like
Do you think a Homo erectus would have been too different to understand? And were there any at this point, or they're completely gone at this point? Besides,
By 50,000 years
the
ago, I
Hobbits
think
are
they're
still
completely
going, right?
gone.
Are the Hobbits still going? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dane, do you have a fan blasting on your mic at the moment?
Oh, sorry about that. My
You're good.
I have what I have
so
is an old
just so you're-
MacBook. That's what I have. It doesn't do. Let me
Ah.
plug my mic back
It's
in
trying
again.
to take off.
Yeah,
You
sorry.
gotta reinvest some of that ad revenue in a new computer,
Dude.
man. Come on.
But dude,
It's
MacBooks
not-
are like $2,000. I don't want another one. All right, is this better? Can you hear me better?
That's good. Yeah,
I
that's
think it's
good.
better. Yeah, it's
Yep.
yeah.
So, just before we get to Denisovans, because I really want to talk about Denisovans as well. What else? Like, could each of you just say what your favorite thing about Neanderthals is?
No.
They're hot.
We all hate them. Or
You
just
go
something that's
first.
an interesting point, I guess, that people maybe don't necessarily consider normally. No pressure.
Interesting point. I don't necessarily consider. I don't know. I mean, they might have had. I think Neanderthals might have believed in ghosts. Let me say that.
Love it.
And I'll say that because
That's incredible.
they seemingly buried their dead.
Ah.
And I think once you clearly understand the concept of life ending, that the deceased person has truly ended and that they might have some treatment, you might develop the concept that they could come back, right? So I
That's
kind
a
of
good
once
video
you
title.
once you see like maybe
Man, you
Once
got to
you see,
do that.
like-
That's cool.
once you see like really deliberate treatment of the dead, I think, and it's not just me that thinks this, but I think you can guess that they believed in ghosts. So that's kind of interesting to think about.
Neanderthal religions.
Yeah, Neanderthal religions, spirits. You know, what were they?
Yeah.
What were they thinking with that?
If we're still on that question, like they're he disappeared. No, he's there.
I'm
They're
here.
like
I'm here.
Neanderthals. To me, like their ability to make stone tools is fascinating. Like it's another animal on the landscape that was making fire, making tools that wasn't human per se, but also was human. I think is something fascinating just in its own right. But they're like a very cold adapted tool using ape that hadn't existed until like people,
Yeah.
or like until we do now. So it's like pretty interesting that they were living in such cold, harsh conditions, seemingly thriving for the most part, except for all their like wounds. And yeah, like they don't really get looked at as that. They're more so like the precursor to humans in a lot of people's minds. But
Yeah,
they're like
which I
this
think
really,
is unfair, that because they are very much alongside us,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
we
So
are
very-
them. I keep saying like they're a different thing. We are them in a way, you know.
In a way, we
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
They survive through us. When you just said wounds, like, is that what you said? Like, Neanderthal
like they-
remains, are they just covered in wounds?
well, we don't have any like lesions that we can see, but like their skeletons either from interpersonal or intrapersonal, or just from hunting accidents seem to. It was described as like a rodeo clown. They're
Oh
like
man!
their skeletons are just all wrecked, either from
So they're just these huge guys just getting beaten up by mammoths.
yeah,
That's
or
what I'm
falling
imagining.
down hills or
Yeah,
something.
just,
Like we
just
can't really
falling
tell.
down cliffs and yeah.
North might know
Interesting.
more about that with his answer.
Yeah, I mean, I recall seeing like statistics from papers about like 94% of Neanderthal skeletons show like one injury at least, and it's like half of them show like a very significant breakage or something throughout their life. And like I think a lot of the burials you can kind of see like, oh yeah, this guy died from something for sure, or yeah, I mean, they definitely lived very dangerous lives. I mean, they're just
Yeah.
surrounded by giant animals who either want to kill them or they want to kill, so it's just
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
They also
Yeah.
lived in, think of it like northern Italy and like other mountainous regions where they could easily take a spill and just die or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like what, not knowing exactly how it was, but we know they just were constantly getting, be like like I don't know
Yes,
how
all
else
the
to
time,
describe
just
it.
like absolutely everything. Just
They also
So
seem
what did
to
the
have
Neanderthal
avoided-
say when it like stubbed its toe?
they also
Yeah.
avoided infection, so they had some way to take care of their wounds. We also know, so
oh,
almost
that's interesting.
miraculously. So like they I don't know if they've even ever found like infection on a Neanderthal
Wow.
skeleton. And we know that I think there's evidence that they set some splints for broken legs, and some of their bones just seem to have healed like way better than they should have, indicating that they may have had a way to deal with broken limbs, which would make sense if you're getting injured all the time. You got to develop ways to get fixed, especially when you're living
Dude,
in a community of only like 10, 20 people. Every single
Yeah.
person is super valuable. So
Neanderthal doctors. There you go. You got to do that video.
yeah, I made a video on their healthcare or just ancient.
Oh, did
human
you already?
healthcare.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So you just said 10 to 20
Uh,
people. I mean, is that like the rough? Is that a Neanderthal group? 10 to 20 people?
Probably
pro-
small groups.
20, 25. I guess it probably would depend.
So a big
but
family.
show the-
Extended family.
Yeah,
Stefan, show what you got there.
This is the arm bone of a Neanderthal called Nandi, Shanidar 1. And it seems like he fully lost the bottom half of his arm. Like either
Oof.
through disease or injury, this arm was absolutely smashed to bits and healed in a very deformed way. And he probably lost his like lower half of his arm. And at least survived long enough for the bone to sort of heal over. So they, definitely got injured, but seemingly survived even quite catastrophic injuries in some cases.
So his friends, his family looked after him, presumably.
Presumably.
How interesting. How interesting.
I didn't know they made a cast of that bone. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was also
Or
he
a flipper
was, like
at this
blind in
point.
one eye. He couldn't hear. Both of his legs had been broken in his lifetime.
Yeah,
I
he
think
was
there's a
fully
handful of other
injured.
injuries. And he presumably died of like old age. He just I don't think there's evidence he was eaten by a carnivore, or I mean
Wow.
we can't really know for sure, but he was really old. Like, did yeah? I don't even think did he
He
have
would have been
teeth
like
or
middle aged, like 40, 50, something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty old.
I think another thing that's important to mention, or very interesting, is that like some Neanderthals would have probably been in their 70s. Like that's definitely possible. There's chimpanzees in the wild that have lived until their 60s and in captivity in their 80s. So it's like there's it would have been rare, but there's this misconception that all ancient humans hit 30 and just died, but obviously that's not
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
misconstruing lifespan with life expectancy, I believe was the
Mm.
so yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of Neanderthals would have died like childbirth or within the first few years of their life. So it really skews the statistics. But a
Yeah.
lot of Neanderthals would have made it to their 40th birthday, or yeah, and some exceptionally rugged or lucky Neanderthals would have survived into their 60s, possibly 70s. I'm sure at least a few of them survived into their 80s, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot of
It's
life
really weird.
experience when you
Senior
you're 70s,
discounts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they would have been really valuable for all their
Yeah.
knowledge.
Well, great
obviously.
knowledge, stories. Yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Just
absolutely.
cultural value,
Teaching,
too, yeah.
flint napping, probably, and all that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
people tend to think like ancient humans would just kill their elderly when they got old, geronticide.
Yeah.
But I mean, because that is a practice that has been documented in very few contemporary indigenous societies. But the norm is to care for old individuals and
Absolutely.
have
Yeah,
them live as
absolutely.
long as they can. But
In a lot of human history, it was the young that were not necessarily looked after. It would be someone who was older. They would be very valued because the knowledge, as we just said, and all that's really
Right.
important. It's I know in many societies they don't name the child until they're like a couple of years old.
It's for sure gonna live. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
named
exactly.
until last year.
Well, there's the grandmothering hypothesis too, which is like the idea that keeping your elderly alive, or like those who couldn't, I think that by definition is like those who couldn't lactate anymore, or like necessarily like, I think men can still reproduce until they're like 90s if you look at Alec
Yeah.
Baldwin, but like
That's crazy.
they're there to watch the children while the able-bodied
the
men and
childcare.
women can go forage and hunt.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
that then leads to more, you're getting stories from grandpa and you're passing that
Absolutely.
on. And
100%.
it's pretty
I completely
fascinating.
agree with that because this
I think-
nuclear family thing is quite weird and new. Like in the past, kids would be raised by the community, so it would be the elderly people who aren't going out foraging necessarily anymore. They'd look after the kids because mom and dad need to go out and find food.
Yeah.
Right.
There's something
And make
that
things,
I
and-
do 100% agree with that. There is some element of human evolution that four men haven't mentioned yet as well. When we're talking about teamwork and the increasing complexity of human society, it's just a fact that childbirth is very difficult for humans compared to like other apes.
Yeah.
And when we're thinking about how did we evolve language, how did we evolve this complex society, blah, 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 the fact that childbirth has become basically a team effort in human
Right.
society, and the raising of very young children is also a team effort, is like not thought of enough. Basically, we always sort of look to this hunting and what do the tools say and blah, blah, blah. But there's this whole aspect of human society, a fundamentally crucial aspect of human society, primarily female-driven,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
in terms of giving birth, entirely female-driven.
Yeah, yeah.
That is
absolutely.
extremely
Absolutely.
difficult and complex, and all of this stuff.
Absolutely. So all of this stuff we're talking about, did Denisovans have all of this stuff, or do we just not possibly know because there's so little information?
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. Denisovans are kind of just the population of Neanderthals that lived in Asia, really. Like,
Yeah.
they're very closely related
With Georgian accents, basically.
with Georgian accents, yeah.
Yeah.
With southern, deep south accents.
Oh, I meant like Stalin, Georgia. Yeah.
Stalin,
Yeah.
yeah. Stalin accents.
I'll make
Yeah.
that Lavawa too.
Interesting. They're kind of they're like Neanderthals, really. I mean, we
Yeah, I mean,
barely
maybe
have
they had-
any.
maybe they have
bones.
differences. Did they what?
We barely have any bones from Denisovans, right? Or
not
that-
as many, yeah, for sure. Not as
Finger
many.
bone until last year.
But you know, it's also possible that we've called bones Neanderthals that are actually Denisovans, and we just don't have the DNA
Right.
from them because we only found out about them from genetically testing what we thought was a Neanderthal bone.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
it is possible. It's very possible we've misidentified many Asian hominins as something else, late Homo erectus, what have you, that are in fact like on the Denisovan lineage. That's a possibility. And they just seemingly confirmed that the big cranium, the Homo longi cranium, is a Denisovan. So really, I think the name Denisovan is coming to an end. We're going to be talking about Homo longi.
Really?
Really?
Is that right?
probably.
Is that right?
Well, Denisovan isn't like a formal species name.
Yeah.
The first
It's just from the
You're right,
cave,
you're
isn't
right.
it? It's Denison Cave or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in terms of like a formal species name, it's, you know, because they have rules about how these things apply. I don't know them, but the rules exist. And I think it might end up being Homo longi.
Interesting. Interesting. So I mean, they're basically Neanderthals then, Eastern Neanderthals.
I mean, how many base, you know, how many genetic differences do you have to be one species or another, right? In a sense, these are all arbitrary because we're all into breeding.
Yeah.
But you could think, but maybe it's useful to have a name for this like middle Pleistocene Asian population, as opposed to the European one or the East Western Eurasian one and the African one. So, you know, in a sense, all these names are arbitrary.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Someone's bringing
Interesting.
North his lunch.
Just signaling for help.
Nope.
Someone was just about to burst in and say it
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be called Denisovans, not now.
You better not be splitting in there.
Yeah. You guys splitting a lump.
Awesome. Awesome.
Stefan, you might know more about this than I do, but I mean, I believe their genetics were, I mean, at least pretty unique, though. Even though they were, you know, they kind of, it's easy to understand them as just like the Asian Neanderthals, but like genetically, weren't they pretty distinct in their own branch, right? Like,
I don't know enough to comment on it really, but we all they seemingly diverged, you know, I think about 600,000 years ago. So other than like these episodes of admixing that occurred, you know, they were separate from like Neanderthals in the West for a significant amount of time. So probably they are like quite distinct, at least distinct enough that when geneticists found them, they were like, oh, this is a distinct population, right? So, but I don't know enough to comment on how distinct really.
I do recall that there's like 3 different branches of them, right? They were probably different within their own right. Like there was one that lived up in, you know, that northern plain, Tibet area, and then they obviously lived all the way down into Southeast Asia. So just imagine how different they probably looked from each other, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Geneticists have identified different populations, and seemingly modern humans have admixed with different populations of Denisovans at different times. And yeah, like you said, they seemingly had a really wide geographic distribution. One interesting question that we don't have a great answer for is who lived in India at this time. It's kind of interesting.
It's a
huge
big gap for
subcontinent.
me too. I never know because
Yeah,
there's Australia, there's Indonesia, but we never see much about India.
yeah. We've only
Why
found
is that?
one. We've only found
Think
one cranium from India at this time period, called the
Wow.
Narmada cranium.
Are people
And
looking?
I don't know how. I can't comment on it. I've spoken to Indian archaeologists that study this time period, and they say there's huge potential for like caves in India, that no one has really excavated so many caves in India. So there's still potential to learn lots of stuff. We only have the one cranium at the minute, the Narmada cranium, and it doesn't like easily fit into any categorization that we currently have. So it's kind of interesting.
Wow. So that
think
might
might-
be a whole new type of group of Neanderthals, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, middle
Yeah.
Pleistocene hominin.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
knows? Who knows?
There can
My
even be
audition
like
for
early
Rogan
Homo
episode.
habilis there. Who knows?
Homo habilis carried on.
Yeah.
I feel like you just
But-
made a joke there, David. What was What was the joke?
I'm trying to formulate it better, but like, was the Indus Valley civilization made by Denisovans?
Oh,
And then I'll make that
No.
my new grift.
Well, yeah, do it, man. Yeah, go on all the big
probably
podcasts.
an extremely
and-
profitable one.
Yeah.
Ting, ting. Like,
So Denisovans, I mean, I keep using this outdated term. Apparently, I think it's a bit of a buzzword. I think a lot of people hear that and they go, "Oh, that's interesting." Are they, even if they are just Neanderthals? I mean, they're still in the genetic makeup of most Asians.
Yeah, probably.
I know a bit about. I think it's most East Asians actually have a pretty small amount, like literally less than 1%. But in Southeast Asia, yeah, some populations can have Melanesians in particular can have between like 3 to 5% Denisovan DNA. It's one of the highest
that's a lot.
archaic ancestries in modern humans, and
Interesting.
Australian Aboriginals as well. I don't know if they're included in the term Melanesian, but yeah.
So the
that's true.
Denisovans survive in our modern populations, just like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, genetically
Neanderthals.
almost more so than Neanderthals in terms of just in those populations specifically. But I guess Neanderthals is probably the most widespread because they're,
Yeah.
East Asians have more Neanderthal DNA than Europeans, despite some
wow,
like
right,
white
okay,
supremacists
interesting.
claiming that Neanderthals
Yeah,
are white
yeah.
people. Internet,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
yeah,
don't know what it is about
there's more-
Neanderthals, but it for some reason it's still even in my mind. It's like Neanderthals. I kind of associated them with Europe, but it's not necessarily the case because they're all over Asia and the Middle East.
I guess because it's a
Maybe
European
even as
name.
far south as Hong
Yeah.
Kong.
Really?
There's
Yeah,
a
maybe.
cranium from Hong Kong called the Maba cranium, and it's its characterization was up for debate, but at least I've spoken to anthropologists who said like if you found that cranium in Europe, you would just call it a Neanderthal and just move on. But this one was
Yeah.
found basically just a couple of miles up the road from Hong Kong. So they're
Wow.
very potentially really spread out. But now that we know about Denisovans, is it Denisovan? It gets so complicated. But
Interesting. Any other blank spots on the map that need to be filled in besides India?
let's take questions from the audience if you don't mind, because I
Let's do
feel
it.
like I have about 20 minutes until I have to poo. So
All right, man. Yeah, sweet.
You said
Let's
it
do
first.
Let's do it. Yeah. Well, by all means, guys, if you want to dive into this chat, and if anyone sees any interesting questions they want to answer,
let me just go to the bathroom. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
yeah, you go for it,
Everyone
man. You
else,
go for it.
Okay. Gotta leave some
While
copper lights.
while Stefan goes, David and North, as far as you guys are concerned, what's a blank spot on the map, or blank spot just in general in the research that you're looking forward to somebody working out?
I think
I,
Stefan
I-
mentioned. Oh, you go first, man.
No, you go. You got it.
Parts of Africa where it's like super tropical, like where chimps live now. There's probably tons of fossil evidence under there. You just can't properly excavate it or find it on the surface. Places like that, which explains why India, since it's so jungle dense and like savanna dense now, or I guess urbanly dense now, it's probably a lot of it's gone. Stuff there, and then most of Siberia. Like I think we have this idea of like we were pretty good at understanding of the peopling of the Americas or how people got from Africa to the Americas, but it's a huge swath of forest and tundra that it could not possibly have been fully surveyed. So there's
Yeah.
probably tons of other, maybe even like a Neanderthal Denisovan mixture up there too that we haven't seen yet. So vegetated places that could use more, much like the Amazon or something like that, like could use more technology to help us find more stuff.
Awesome.
North.
Well, as I just covered, not to plug my last video, one of my last videos again, but so there's this hominid that we know genetically existed in West Africa, and some populations still have slightly over 6%, 6.6 I think percent is the average for this hominid's admixture in certain populations in West Africa. But this admixture is not found in East or South Africa yet at all, really, indicating that this population of hominids was, only lived in West Africa, and they were. But what's interesting about them is that they split off from our lineage before Neanderthals or Denisovans, meaning that they probably split off from us, 800,000 years ago. And we don't have any fossils of this species. We know they existed just like Denisovans. We knew Denisovans existed because we actually found their, DNA. But we know this exists from modern genomes, and we don't really know what they looked like. We probably found a bunch of their tools just because there are tools and they're probably made by them. But yeah, so this population was even more distant than us from Neanderthals or Denisovans, and we probably bred with them in the past 200,000 or even as close as 100,000 years ago in West
wow.
Africa.
So they were
So that's
suitably
just
similar
and that's
to
just
us.
that's 2020 that they found that out or published on
Wow.
it. So I think it's a great example
amazing.
of, we're gonna have a lot crazier discoveries probably, even maybe Homo floresiensis DNA in our species somewhere, or there's
Yeah.
gonna be all kinds of
Yeah.
hominids that make everything so much harder to talk about. and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so
exactly.
much more complex.
Everything we've
Yeah.
said in this conversation will be redundant, but that's cool. That's
Is
that's
that a
why these
ghost
things are
hominid?
interesting.
Yeah, that's the
Was
ghost.
that- okay,
It's
yeah.
just referred to as the ghost hominid of West Africa, but it's really crazy. And that's just a random thing that they just discovered and they published on it in 2020. And yeah, it's gonna keep happening. Basically, is what I'm saying.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love that everything's going to be rewritten all the time. It's great.
Yeah,
Um,
redo all
and
the
it gives you
videos.
guys endless things to talk about.
True.
Yeah, for sure. I need to talk more about human evolution. I rarely do.
Well, it's like the thing is with these things, though, it gets so complicated because it's like when you go back far enough in time, like what does archaic admixture even mean? Like we're just different groups of humans. Some we haven't had contact with for a very long time. Some we have contact with in a short time. It gets complicated calling something like a ghost population when we don't have hardly any human remains from that time period, right? So it's like who's to say what's a ghost population? Do you know what I'm getting at? Am I making sense?
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Like we're all just sort of like humans bumping into each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Brains of
I
We-
don't-
It seems to me we've got a very incomplete picture of everything that's going on, and we're trying to make sense of it with our kind of modern labels and things. Just because that's how we make sense of the world.
yeah.
Yeah. One of the t-shirt designs I wanted to finally put out was just like mutant Homo erectus, and it's like an arrow pointing to you because like we kind of just all after Homo erectus, it's just a crapshoot of what you are. Some I don't know, like you're upright, tool using, and can talk. Yeah,
I think it's worth noting too that
Yeah.
wait, let me show you. Like Homo erectus really isn't even that different from us. Like if you
No.
were an alien looking at a Homo erectus compared to a Homo sapien, it's like it's kind of the same thing. It's like so yeah, that is right. Like people get so confused by Neanderthal, Denisovan, it just confuses people who don't have like the time to spend learning about this stuff. But really, it's just like, dude, we are just all Homo erectus that went on and did other things.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, roided out.
I prefer this to be called like Homo erectus sapiens, Homo erectus neanderthalensis. If I had my druthers,
That is a good idea.
but no one will give me my druthers, so it doesn't matter.
If we were a different species, like biologists would probably just be like, oh yeah, Homo erectus sapiens, it's just a small subspecies. Like, they're really not that different.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one.
All right, guys. I'm just looking at some of the questions in the chat. I
Yeah,
can't see
shout
that
out to
many
Tori
questions, to
Mazza
be
for
fair.
being here, by the
Yeah,
way.
shout
I
out
saw
to
him.
Ettore.
That's all right, Mazza.
I saw one comment of somebody saying, "Wouldn't people who, if you make tools, wouldn't you then make a shelter?" Because it's like seems like an obvious sort of link.
I think
it
if
depen-
oh,
Go
sorry.
on, David. Go on.
If apes are habitually terrestrial and making nests, or they're not habitually terrestrial, but hominids seem to be. You're still making nests. Apes make nests intrinsically. Like it would make sense to make some kind of shelter But whether like you could make a warm suited one with stitched and like tanned hide, I think comes later. But there's still some. I don't remember what the question was now, Stefan.
Well, no, I do agree that, like, I think some form of shelter, yeah, because, you know, chimpanzees and gorillas, they make beds for themselves and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like David said, I think when people say shelter, I think they imagine like a full, like, thatched
Right.
house or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, like, a Homo habilis or erectus was making something like that, but nests, windbreaks, elaborate bedding, you know, I think for sure they were making, for sure. I just don't want to give the impression that you would come across like a village of Homo habilis and they're like living in like literal
longhouse.
houses and stuff.
Multi-story apartments.
Oh, yeah. Some
Give
form
us your
of shelter
best.
they must have done probably.
Give us your best Neanderthal impressions, guys, for Ettore. He says, "What do you think about the experimental recreation of Neanderthal abilities, that the vocal abilities?" We've already spoken about this, but
Yeah.
hello, I'm a
Fine.
Neanderthal.
My
Probably not
impression of
English.
Neanderthal is not PG enough for this live stream. You know,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
That's.
It's
Kinda
gonna
around
get
that.
demonetized.
See if there's any
This
more
is a
questions.
Neanderthal that didn't get his coffee order right. No, all right. That was not worth the time.
I love
Did
doing,
early
like, a
humans-
Cockney accent to recreate
Yeah,
this.
do it.
Oh, cool, blimey.
Did early humans use
Saying it.
shrooms? Terence McKenna's just entered the chat.
Yeah, I made a video about that
Definitely.
a couple of months ago. I mean, yeah, there's no proof. That's pretty
There's no
much
proof at
all there is.
Interesting thought,
I
though.
mean, no, it is. The thing is, they probably, no, almost certainly were ingesting psychedelic mushrooms as far back as, I mean, I wonder, I don't know if chimpanzees do it. I don't think they do, but yeah, there's almost no doubt that they were ingesting those substances, but I don't think you can't link that to brain growth evolutionarily.
Right.
There's no like mechanism to support that. And we do see that mushrooms became important in human cultures like in the past 10, maybe 40,000 years, but even that link is like pretty, there's really just not a lot of evidence. And it's just a cool sounding hypothesis, really, but it's worth talking about because it is funny to think that Homo
Yeah.
erectus was stripping for sure. Like
yeah,
they would have
absolutely.
I think
those
so.
mushrooms or just tried them once in a while. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it probably wasn't a part of their. You're probably pretty susceptible to predation when you're on a shroom trip.
Yeah,
And licensing
Yeah.
Yeah, just running up to a
A little
mammoth.
paranoid.
That's North's
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
from
yeah.
experience there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
Luckily
try
there's
foot
no-
napping one time in that.
In that state of mind.
I may or may not have, depending on if there's legal people listening, but it was interesting. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And,
As is
yeah.
doing anything in that state of mind.
Yeah.
Only one language, somebody asks. I think probably loads of languages, surely. Surely every group
Yeah,
would have their own, like same as today. A accent becomes a dialect, and then a dialect becomes a language.
I did hear an interesting thing though, an interesting hypothesis once. Like, why do we have accents? Why does our accent seem to get fixed after childhood? And one idea is that it's a way to quickly identify like in-group versus out-group people. If there's some like survival mechanism there in being able to quickly identify that just from how they talk. Because you think like really your accent is fixed from your
Yeah.
childhood onwards.
Yeah.
You can't really
Is it
change
really?
it.
I feel
I
like
think
if you
it's,
like, it'll
I
change
think it's
under-
adolescence.
It'll go through subtle changes, but like I've
Yeah.
lived in America for 10 years and you can tell
Oh, true, yeah.
that I didn't grow up here.
There is a
Yeah.
weird counterpoint to this, though, because I've got a couple of friends who moved to Australia and New Zealand at the age of like in their 20s, and both
Yeah.
of them now sound fully like they're from
Fully
they're just
Aussie.
fully Aussies, yeah, and it's mad. And I'm like, is that a
Calling their bluff.
particular?
No, I was kidding.
Is that an England? Is that an England to Australia thing? I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
they
Maybe
just
it's
sound
not
Aussie.
different enough.
Yeah.
When I go
Yeah,
up,
'cause-
when I
Oh.
go up north where my family has much more like Minnesotan accents, I'll come back like realizing that I'm holding my O's way harder, and I don't even
Yeah.
mean to do it on purpose, but I'm just like, oh yeah, Minnesota, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not talking like that, idiot. You're back in Minneapolis, like.
But I actually
I don't-
think
I
that
don't know, I
this.
feel like-
I think this agrees with Stefan's point, interestingly, because it's like you adapt to your group.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when I go back to New York too, it's like I moved from New York when I was 14 to Tennessee, so like that was my accent, but it like kind of neutralized. But like when you're back in New York and you're in that like hustle and bustle, like blinders on when you're walking down the
I'm
street.
walking
it's-
here.
Yeah, it's almost
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
defense mechanism of like you have to talk like
Bagel.
that. So when I
Yeah.
get when I get back home, my friends are like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I'm just like a little more blunt and like, especially if I call my mom, we're just it's New York, yeah, talk, but
Especially with alcohol.
and it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love to be in a pub in Worcester.
Yeah.
I go full
Yeah.
Worcester.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What's
Just
do you
calling
think?
people babber?
Yeah, yeah.
What's the Worcesterism?
Oh, Baba. As he just said.
Babber, calling people
Think-
babber.
Okay.
Well, I live in Nottingham now, and everybody calls each other Duck. They go, "You're right, Ducky. You're right, Duck."
Yeah, that's. I always more associate that with the north. But
Yeah, yeah.
Being north
so,
of what?
so everyone's a duck for some reason. So someone will get on a bus and they'll be like, "You're right, Duck."
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas someone in Worcester might say like, "All right, babber,"
Yeah.
and that's just like,
Interesting.
"How's it going?" Yeah. All
Well,
right,
see,
Bo.
you're from
All right,
Worcester
Bo.
proper. I'm from Bromsgrove, Stefan.
Yeah.
So Bromsgrove is kind of like an extension of Birmingham, really. So it's like
You are, yeah.
lots of
you are.
Brummies. Lots of Brummies.
You
Yeah, yeah.
sound. You have a Brummy twang. I don't know if
Comes
David
out more when I
North can
drink,
hear
as
it.
we just mentioned. So when I'm
Yeah.
with my friends from home, I'm just full Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. Oh, that's Boston, eh?
All right, mate. What's going on?
All right.
Have you guys seen
Oh,
the
let's
meme
go
of
down. Let's go down the pub, all right, boys. Yeah.
the British guy in like it's like a trash can hot tub thing, and he's yelling. I can't remember what it was, but it was
Yeah,
like
something like, "It's my bin. I'll do what I want."
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
he's
that
like,
guy.
if
I
it's
love
hot,
that
but
guy. Yeah, yeah.
it was one. I think I might have sent it to North, but it was like when someone from Bristershire Field doesn't like somebody from Woodchester Field, and he's like,
So
"Hey,
true.
get out of here!"
Yeah, yeah, it's so true, so true. I love the video that you're mentioning, Stefan, where it's the guy in the bin and he's just sat having a cocktail on the hottest day of the year.
I think
Yeah,
it's
someone-
I've seen that.
Someone walks past
Yeah.
and they're messing with him, and he's like, "Look, if I just want to sit in my bin, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the hottest day of the year." Oh, so good.
That would be a
What
really
do you guys
good
think?
Halloween costume to just come as a
Just goes that guy in the bin.
just go
Amazing.
and take your bin up, fill it with water, and just sit in it.
Yeah. Oh man. Are you good for a couple more questions, Stefan, or have you got to shoot off?
I'm
I'm
good.
conscious
Do a
of
couple more. Let's do a
I'm
couple
conscious of
more.
your time.
that was a record, the fast one too. By the way, I want to commend.
This is
you
a
on
fast one, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Did cave art come about as a consequence of language or due to a lack of it?
Due to a lack of it, I never thought about that before. I mean, the short answer is I don't know. But
that's a difficult
think-
one.
I think elaborate cave art probably shows language, then, because you're trying to
Seems
communicate
to.
something.
Hmm.
I think there's probably a lot of stories that go along with this Paleolithic cave art.
Yeah, I think there must
I
be an
think-
audio-visual display sort of thing.
I think
It's a
so,
PowerPoint
yeah, yeah, yeah.
presentation.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Or it could be.
I,
Could be.
Yeah, I think it is. I think there's an audio component that we're missing, right, with all of this cave art. We're missing the story behind it. So
Yeah.
to me, it would seem crazy that they're not associated with language. But what do I know? Who's to say?
Yeah.
I think some of them have symbols on them as well. Like, I think Lascaux has there's dots, and some people try
Yeah.
to correlate it to stuff. I've never really paid attention to it because I always just assume it's nonsense. They're trying to correlate these dots to this or that or the star system. It just doesn't even really interest me. But I'm sure there is that component though.
Someone came out with a study like 2 years ago, and it was some like amateur guy or like avocationalist guy went and studied all these different symbols, and he compared it to like fertility and mating seasons of these different animals, and
Yeah.
it's probably just some kid was like, "This looks cool."
I mean, to
And-
give credit to that guy,
It's
as
cool.
an independent researcher, he did get it published in a peer-reviewed journal with. I
think it was Nature, right?
Co-authors, yeah. So shout out. I don't remember that guy's name, but shout out to. That's a great example of an ordinary person actually doing the work to a high
Yeah.
caliber and submitting it for peer review. So he's probably a legend.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, you know, with those things, it's probably hard to say for sure. But like you said, North, there's got to be some like information that goes along with these series of dots and things like that.
Yeah.
Like
the
it's hard
one-
to
the-
imagine they weren't talking about
My
it.
favorite painting probably of all time has to be from Lascaux, the Wounded Man scene with the bison, running over that guy. You know which one I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
That's like that's probably the clearest example of a story or narrative art. Like it's just clearly this guy had wounded this bison, and now the bison was coming or the bison had already killed him in the painting. But I think, but one of the most interesting has to be the Neanderthal painting from what's the cave again with the weird symbol? Is it Monteviso or something?
Yes, I think you might be
It's
right.
one of the
Monty
oldest
Python,
cave
yeah.
paintings there is, and it's the weirdest looking thing. It looks like almost like a language or a character or something. There's like 100 dots, a ladder, a weird symbol, and it's just bizarre that that's some of the oldest cave art in the world, made by Neanderthals, and it's just
Yeah.
so it's not just a dot. It's like it's so complex. It almost looks like a cult symbol or who even knows.
Yeah. And that's the one as well where there's like a realistic animal in one of the cells as well. And
Yeah,
it's like hypothesized that later humans added to this Neanderthal art. It's a really crazy one, yeah. Yeah,
So we're coming to
yeah.
Coming to the end of the questions now.
I painted
Some-
it a few years
Oh.
ago.
there it is. That's what Neanderthals
Interesting.
man.
painted.
When you
That's
put it on
incredible.
its side, it's phallic, but when you put it this way, it's like a little pontoon boat fella,
That thing is the weirdest to me.
and there's like a cow or a deer, and then the other end of a pig, but these dots. But this is the one they debate: is this human or Neanderthal? But it seems to date directly to Neanderthal.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure it's not a Florida pontoon boat in the Everglades, or an alien, but it's just something
it's quite
weird.
abstract, isn't it? It's like
very.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, definitely
interesting.
like a donkey or something, and then the end of a pig.
It's like a
Well,
Salvador
those are
Dali.
hypothesized to have been added later by modern humans.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we don't have any other example of a Neanderthal doing a realistic image of an animal at all. Whereas that's so common in Paleolithic.
What about the seals from that one cave? Have you ever seen those seal paintings on the stalagmite?
Yeah, it's in
what-
Spain, I think. I forget the name of that
Yeah.
one.
Because I think that is solidly dated to like Neanderthal whatever time. La Pasiega or something.
I can't recall, but I remember there being seals. In fact, I did that.
Interesting. I haven't
sorry
heard of those.
to- Plug something I did, but that post I made about like the iconography of animals in the Ice Age, seals
Oh.
barely made it on there. Horses dominate, and then humans are very low, but a lot of fish too. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of fish. There's more rhino and lions than fish, but it's interesting what they decided to paint and what they didn't.
Yeah.
Those
Shows you
those nerdy ones are
horse.
interesting. I'm just on their Wikipedia page.
What's that?
The
Oh, the
seal
seals.
painting seems to date to 42,000 years ago. Which
Oh,
would
okay.
put it
So
right
it's
at
debated.
the earliest Homo sapiens. Yeah, debated. Yeah. So I would bet it was a modern human. If it's 42, I would bet it's just a modern human.
Yeah.
Woman.
Well, what about you, Pete? What's your favorite thing you know
Yeah.
about Neanderthals or that you learned?
I think probably. My knowledge of Neanderthals is nowhere near as extensive as you guys, but I know the Shanidar Cave is pretty interesting, and it's maybe completely outdated now, but there was an idea that basically Neanderthals were doing funerals in this cave, and they would bury their loved ones with flowers, and I just really like that idea of. I think they were covering them with ochre, and they were laying down flowers, and
Yeah.
laying their dearly loved ones to rest in this cave, and they would come
Yeah.
back, and yeah, just an interesting evocative image, isn't it? You know, and you, Stefan, said that they believe in ghosts, so there's like
I think
This-
so.
this worldview, that this rich worldview that they lived in, and they loved each other, I think, which is quite unique. That's different to earlier groups, I think, unless
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose chimps love each other to an extent. don't they?
Yeah, it's hard
You
to
know.
say. Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
to say that. But I think, if we were able to observe just like a group of Neanderthals hanging out, I don't think we'd feel that there's much difference between us and them, for sure.
I think it'd be pretty similar.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody did. I've lost the comment now, but somebody said that if they were starving in a group of Neanderthals, I'd be the one that they'd eat out of the four of us because I look tender. So thank you for that.
I was just thinking, me and you, Pete, we have the exact opposite hairlines. You've got like a point, and I'm missing a point.
We make a whole if we combine our hairs together. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Lego piece.
I was thinking,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
God damn it! Like Pete's
There we go,
lost
man.
my chunk of hair. That I'm
Yeah, I've
missing
gained it.
somehow.
Yeah, man. Widow's Peak, I think it's called, or something like that.
I guess
what it's
I got
called?
one.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I must
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
widow's crack then. I
Widow's
think.
crack. Yeah, I suppose Attore's just made the point. Great apes can also communicate with limited gestures and sign with humans. So yeah, they can sort of
Well, what does he
do
know?
sign
I'm just
language, can't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Yeah. So I mean, you probably I'll amend that, and I Flint did have a good point that like you don't have to. It just makes sense that you would have language to make stone tools, but I
Mm.
guess great ape language I would also argue at the same time is super complex. So
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah,
do Jordan
sorry.
Peterson again.
Yeah.
What is language anyway?
the
Yeah.
ravages of yeah.
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 Well, on that
it's
note,
true.
we can probably call it there. I mean, anybody else got anything to add?
Thanks for assembling the Avengers. Appreciate it.
Anytime,
Yeah.
anytime. I've been
Not that
enjoying
I'm an
doing
Avenger.
these
I'm like Hawkeye,
conversations.
if anything. The lesser.
No, of course
Yeah.
not. You were the peak of evolution on the thumbnail.
Yeah, I was
I think,
jealous
yeah.
of that.
I think David was worried when North was like, they're 5'3" and 190 pounds. It was crazy.
Yeah.
David was like, yeah. Only joking.
Don't look at my medical chart because it will concur.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks, guys. We'll have to do this again sometime. I'm going to keep assembling groups of peoples to ask them all the questions about their knowledge. So yeah, thanks for coming on and thanks for talking to me. You guys are all absolute wealths of information on everything in the ancient human past, and everybody should subscribe to all these guys' channels and watch all their videos.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
My Instagram's
That's
my
all I
thing,
have to say about that.
guess.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to
So-
just like, what do you want to? What are you selling, Dave? Let's. Tell it to the people.
Ethnosynology would be my Instagram. My YouTube's not
Yeah.
as big, but these two are the YouTube kings. But plug away. Well, they know you.
Yeah, yeah. you do TikTok, David? You do?
I
You're on
do,
TikTok.
but not
Yeah,
as
not
much
not
anymore.
properly. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, my last.
Are you,
video
you
that I
guys
I've
both
been
on
doing TikTok a
TikTok?
lot
Are you?
more. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been spending a lot of time on this short form content
Yeah.
recently.
You have
It's
been,
pretty
dude. You've
fun.
been grinding. I respect it.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks because you can kind of just do it wherever you are, like at your house or like waking up in the morning. So it just kind of makes you obsessed with making content all the time. But
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it actually pays pretty well too. So you might be want to
Nice.
be looking into that because it is pretty cool.
See, I'm going the
Surprisingly
other way.
good.
I'm going to do 4-hour streams instead.
Yeah, I mean,
But now
guess
you
that
just
works
need to cut
too.
these up into clips, man. That's
Well,
it.
yeah, that's true. That is true. I was thinking, yeah, I could make some shorts out of all these conversations. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing about Riverside. Riverside kind of does a lot of that for you. Seems like it's a decent platform. But yeah.
We're
That's
boring
all I
the
have to
audience
say
now
about
with
that.
the background.
I know, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for them all to just dwindle away.
Pete
Yeah.
Kelly is the David Attenborough of history. That's a compliment. There you go, man.
Is that because
There you
I'm
go.
nearly dead? I shouldn't say that about David Attenborough. He's one of my great heroes.
Yeah.
He's up there.
Thank you. That is wild praise. That is wild praise. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
But
Right.
yeah, thanks for
That's
having
it,
us.
guys.
This was fun.
That's it from
All
us. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and
Yeah.
see you next time. Actually, everybody who is listening, I'm streaming again tomorrow with History with Kaylee, so tune in then.
Nice.